very quick, and that window can shut super fast. So how those other players are intending to get back to Iran, I have no idea how they'll do so.
Drivers are being urged to stop panic buying petrol amid the surge in crude oil prices. Billions wiped off the Australian share market yesterday, the price of crude climbing to its highest level since the beginning of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. In Adelaide, petrol has jumped 45 cents in 4 increments in 9 days, from $1.80 to $2.15. The NRMA's Peter Curry says we haven't truly seen the rising cost of oil filter through, and higher prices are, at least for now, here to stay.
High prices are going to be around for a while. Leading into the weekend, the markets in Europe and the US, not great.
The man in charge of NAPLAN schools testing is calling for an end to the misuse of the test scores as an entry assessment for students. The Australian Curriculum Assessment and Reporting Authority is also urging parents not to put pressure on children as they sit the exams this week. The royal family has been met with protesters at the annual Commonwealth Day service in London, as Nine's Europe correspondent Hannah Sinclair reports.
People holding up signs which read, "What did you know?" A question to the King about his brother, former Prince Andrew, following his sensational arrest last month on suspicion of misconduct in public office, as investigations continue into the disgraced royals' links to Jeffrey Epstein. The King, the Queen, the Prince and Princess of Wales all together in public for the first time since then for the annual Commonwealth Day service at Westminster Abbey. In his message to the 56 nations this year, King Charles says it is often in such testing times that the enduring spirit of the Commonwealth is most clearly revealed, referencing increased pressures of conflict and climate change across the world. A future issue facing the Commonwealth is Andrew Mountbatten Windsor remaining 8th in line to the throne. Removing him from the line of succession would require approval from all Commonwealth realms, including Australia, which has already expressed its support.
And an e-bike rider is fighting for life after crashing into the back of a parked car in Melbourne's southeast overnight. Police appealing for witnesses. They believe it happened on the service road on the Nepean Highway at midnight. The man taken to hospital in a critical condition. Turning to 5AA Sport.
Get to Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes for the Outlander ES. Drive away from just $39,990.
Good morning, Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Matty. Now, Brisbane is going to front the AFL Tribunal tonight. The Lions appealing the bans handed down to Harris Andrews and Darcy Gardner during opening round. Port Adelaide's players, meantime, will train this morning at Alberton as they prepare for Sunday's season-opening clash against North Melbourne at Marvel Stadium. Willem Drew will address the media, while across at West Lakes, Crows defender Nick Murray will also talk. Rising Australian tennis star Talia Gibson has cracked the world's top 100 for the first time in her career. She was the centre of attention after stunning world number 11 Ekaterina Alexandrova and number 16 Clara Towson to reach the round of 16 at Indian Wells.
I feel like I've been pretty close in the rankings for quite a while now, so I was really hoping that I was going to be able to do it this year, and I think it was so unexpected, and yeah, I'm just filled with so much joy.
Yeah, great result there. Alex de Minaur is currently on court at the moment, but he lost the first set in his match against 27th seed Cam Norrie. Well, the world's best women golfers will have a hit at Kooyonga today. That's ahead of Thursday's Australian Open. And the Adelaide Thunderbirds will also train today ahead of this weekend's season-opening clash. They'll be hosting the New South Wales Swifts on Saturday night. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thank you, Tom. Now checking 5AA's weather.
Stuck in traffic? Road trip differently in the Northern Territory. northernterritory.com/drive.
Sunny and 31 today, partly cloudy tomorrow 26, cloudy for Thursday and Friday 23. Right now it's 15, 5AA, always Adelaide.
When you're fresh out of their favourite fresh fruit. Order more to your door with even more Woolies same-day delivery slots. Shop Woolworths in-app or online. Order by 1 p.m. Exclusions and T's and C's apply.
This election is a choice. More of the same or someone who will stand up. I've spent decades making hard decisions and holding people accountable. Vote 1, Stephen Polaris, Real Change SA. Now I'm asking for your support. Not for politics, but for strength, integrity and for real change. On election day, make it count. Vote 1, Stephen Polaris, Real Change SA.
Authorised by Stephen Polaris, Real Change SA, 70 Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide SA 5000. March into Kia for an incredible finance deal on in-stock new and demo Tasman X Series models with Kia Finance. Approved ABN holders can get to work sooner with a 1.99 per annum interest rate. That's serious value on serious capability. Visit your nearest Kia dealership and test drive your Tasman today. Minimum $10,000 deposit, maximum finance amount $80,000. Maximum term 36 months, ends 31st of March. T's and C's, fees, charges and lending criteria apply. Hyundai Capital Australia Proprietary Limited. Australian credit licence 554051. Offer extended.
Kia, movement that inspires.
Clay Sampson, Fleury Milk Company. I look after the sales and marketing. We've been with FIVEAA now for just over 10 years. I sat down with Jimmy, explained our business and who we were and what we were trying to advertise and what message we're trying to get across. And that's probably been the beauty of working with James, is just him knowing exactly what we need and what we want and the target audience that we're after.
To get your message out there and grow your business, visit fiveaa.com.au and hit the Advertise With Us link.
You can rent a little, you can rent a lot. Business too small to be noticed by those global car rental companies? Well, you can rely on RedSpot to look after you. We love renting to small businesses because we used to be one. We're the only Aussie family-owned car rental company in airport terminals and cities across Australia. And right now, RedSpot is giving you spot-on savings of 15% off every vehicle at every location. Book direct and save at redspot.com.au/radio. T's and C's apply. RedSpot.
At Brain Matters Allied Health, support starts with understanding.
That's right. They work with adults living with complex neurological conditions, including stroke, dementia, Parkinson's, head and neck cancer and traumatic brain injury.
The team at Brain Matters Allied Health brings together speech pathology, psychology and dietetics because brain conditions don't affect just one part of life. Communication can change, swallowing and nutritional needs can change, emotional well-being can be affected as well. And it's not just about the individual. Families are supported as they navigate difficult diagnoses and big adjustments together.
You don't need a GP referral to begin. Visit brainmattersalliedhealth.com.au and complete the online form to take the first step at your own pace.
It's been gone for decades. It's a thing of the past. But even today, it haunts some of us. If you suffered from polio as a child or it affected your parents, Polio SA Support Group would like to hear from you. Symptoms like weakness, joint pain and fatigue may still persist and can be managed. Polio SA is committed to making life for polio survivors as comfortable as possible. Find out more at poliosa.org.au.
The state election is on March 21. Early voting period is from March 14 until 6 p.m. March 20. Voting, it's a good thing.
Live from Hindmarsh Square, it's FIVEAA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6:09, good morning to you and welcome to Tuesday on FIVEAA Breakfast. It is the 10th of March. Spare a thought for everyone waking up this morning knowing the needle is on empty in the vehicle. We're going to be talking lots about fuel prices over the course of the morning. We'll be chatting with the experts from the RAA. We'll be also talking with economist Saul Eastlake. The stock exchange yesterday obviously got punished in Australia and right around the world. Concerns about super, concerns about inflation. And in the very immediate sense, concerns about fuel shortages. Karoonda, the fuel stop there is out. Jake Hill runs it. We're going to be chatting with him. They're not the only ones. Meadows has got diesel rationing. You can't buy more than 20 litres of diesel at the Mogas at Meadows this morning. It sounds like there'll be others. Certainly regionally, they're going to have to follow suit on that front. We're going to get you across it over the course of the morning. But if you see anywhere where there is petrol rationing or they're out, we'd love your assistance in letting people know. 8223 0000. Text us on 0448 08 1395. Lots to talk about sport. First weekend of footy. We'll head to Canberra. Phil Curry. There's been a big campaign stuff up for the Labor Party here in South Australia that we're going to get into as well. Going to be a fun morning. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. I'm on half a tank, and it's not the sort of thing you normally think about, but human behaviour being what it is. Like, see Bunnings is starting to run out of jerry cans.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Like, toilet rolls all over again, I think. Let's just wait and see what happens.
Well, I'll tell you what's happening is, so at mid-afternoon yesterday, the oil barrel price internationally got up to $118. $118. It had been
what was it before?
High 60s, 70s before.
So it doubled.
It basically doubled. So you do the math about what that would have meant. Petrol prices have been about $1.50 before this crisis. Were they going to get up near $3 $3 a litre. That was in play at about the midpoint of the afternoon yesterday. At that time, the ASX 200, the list of the 200 biggest companies listed on the stock exchange in Australia, was down about 4%. You got to get really to the weeds. You start talking about bond yields and what they were saying about inflation. We were talking doomsday scenario about mid-afternoon yesterday. Well, as we wake up this morning, Brent crude is back down to $92. West Texas is about $88. It's been declined. It's been a bumpy sort of a road, but the picture today, if you've tuned out after yesterday, is significantly better globally. Now,
so the price is going to come down, and well, is there availability? Is there enough? Is there going to be enough?
Well, these are all still live questions. So part of the reason you're seeing some of that moderation of the price internationally, I think, is we'll speak to our experts about this. It's a couple of factors. The Saudis are saying they're going to start pumping out some spot oil, so they're going to put out a little bit more as required. And you've got the G7 countries saying, we've all got strategic reserve. It's better for all of us if we start releasing this stuff. Now, they've just held a meeting and said, we're actually going to put off that process a little bit, which is why I actually opened up the price just then to have a bit of a look.
And we're part of the G7, are we?
No, we're not quite in the G7.
Okay.
I think we come in at the G8, I think.
Yeah, right, okay.
I have to double check where our economy fits at the moment. We're just behind Russia.
No, we're not in it because we wouldn't have been at the meeting.
No, we certainly weren't at the meeting. No.
Too busy now, at least, that they've had to do a bit of a reverse ferret and start paying attention to it, thanks to Donald Trump's excellent, I would say, in this case, intervention. We're too busy trying to save the Iranian female soccer team.
Well, and so 5 members of the team,
half of them.
5 members of the team have been given temporary protection visas. The Home Affairs Minister, Tony Burke, is speaking in just over half an hour's time, and we'll bring it to you.
Story.
Because this is heartbreaking, actually, this story. If you think of the human element of this, so some members of this team are going, well, I don't want to risk being killed going back. These are the stakes here.
Well, they've already been threatened. They've been threatened on state media because they refused to sing the Iranian anthem last week.
Others are going, well, my family are currently getting bombed to hell. I'd like to be with them.
There's probably
what a decision.
But any sample group of well, what would there be in a squad? Probably 20 girls.
Yeah, we thought
11 on the side playing, but probably backup goalie and 8 options for the interchange bench. Any group of people like that, you're probably going to have 5 who are like, I hate Iran, I want to leave now, I never want to go back there. Others might actually be like supportive of the regime. There's probably a diverse group of people on this team.
It's entirely possible.
The other thing, apparently all the team officials are members of the Revolutionary Guard.
Which is why they're not allowed to talk on the record.
Yeah.
It's a big story, developing story in the first hour this morning. Let's go to Sellex Beach. Janet, good morning.
Oh, yes, good morning. I think I could help. What would help with the fuel shortage would be more carpooling. My husband commented the other day when we were out how many cars were on the road, and it was a lot with one person in.
Yeah, good point, Janet.
Schools, workplaces, sporting events. People start carpooling. That would help.
Yeah, it's a good suggestion, Jeanette.
It's not outside the realm of possibility that we get there because there's not ships going through the Straits of Hormuz at the moment.
No. But yeah, look, I really hope we don't see these crazy scenes. It seems to be a bit of a distribution thing between regional petrol availability and metropolitan, where a lot of the big oil companies and the big BP Shell type servos, like the big branded ones, they're sitting on plenty of supply at the moment still. But it's independents and regional ones that are struggling to get it.
Well, so I wonder how much it is as a result of, machinations within the industry as opposed to external to it, where people are holding on to supply, just going, let's just hold off and wait to see how this situation develops, as opposed to there actually being a shortage.
I mean, then, of course, there's the political angle too, which is how slothful and despite all the advice that we needed to act on it, Australia's fuel security, and your dad was doing a great job covering this the other day, our fuel security is a joke.
Well, we'll be chatting with Rex Patrick after 7 o'clock this morning, the former South Australian senator who, this was one of his hobby subjects when he was a senator. And I'm guessing this is the sort of doomsday scenario he was imagining. What if this happens? Well, ifs, buts and candy nuts, as Mark Bickley used to say.
I tell you what, though, with the benefit of hindsight, the idea that something unpredictable and violent might happen in the Middle East seems like I'll give you $1 on that.
It certainly does.
It's like Carlton getting humiliated in the opening game of the AFL season.
Yeah, that they did. 16 after 6. We're going to take a break. We might get into our weekend wins in a moment. Should we do some weekend wins? Start with some positivity. 8223 if you've got a weekend win for us, something that was a success for you personally on the weekend, and you're willing to come and call in and have a chat with us, we'd love to hear from you. 8223 the number.
The events that shaped our state.
Hello, Police Magistrate. There's been a major explosion in the top story of a building in Weymouth Street.
A bomb tore through the headquarters of the National Crime Authority.
This is a wicked and evil thing that's been done.
Detective Sergeant Geoffrey Bowen lost his life and Solicitor Peter Wallace suffered serious injuries.
Always Adelaide for 50 years. This is 5AA.
Star Discount Chemist's Big Brand Vitamin Sale is here. Big brand names at low prices, including Bioglan, Blackmores, Nature's Way and more. Go in store or online to shop. Always read the label and follow directions for use. Star Discount Chemist. How can we help?
Adelaide's local, trusted and truly connected talkback radio station. 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Car battery died? Call Batteries Direct Adelaide now and we'll come to you now. Batteries Direct at direct prices. Call 1300 558 174. For affordable on-the-spot battery replacement, call Batteries Direct.
Now, there's lots of great reasons to get behind Najobi and Legacy Food Group, and on top is the sizzling reward of Civic Duty, the Democracy Sausage. It's back. Thanks to Scott and his team, they've committed to thousands and thousands of snags for the big day.
Scott's family has farmed the FIVEAA for over 180 years. They have a philosophy that every part of what they grow deserves respect. Nothing should ever be wasted. And it's that respect that drives everything they do at Legacy, and it goes into every Najobi product. It makes them proud to serve the same food to their family that they serve to yours.
Lots of great reasons to get behind them, and remember your Democracy Sausage at the voting booth, all thanks to Najobi.
At Hamilton, MG, Brighton and Ranella, MG's small SUV just got better. Elevate your drive with the all-new MG ZS CVT Vibe, backed by a 5-star ANCAP safety rating. Pre-order now from $22,990 drive away. Plus, if you or a family member has ever owned an MG, you'll receive an additional $1,000 off. Don't miss out. Ends March 31st. Hamilton, MG, Brighton and Ranella. T's and C's apply. LBD 3600.
How many times a day do you experience hand or wrist pain? If simple things like cooking, holding a cup of tea or coffee, and recreational activities are giving you pain, do something about it. At Grip Surgery, we specialise in hand trauma, carpal tunnel syndrome, osteoarthritis, joint replacement, sports injuries, nerve pain, and more. To get a grip on the life you loved before, free from hand pain, visit gripsurgery.com.au. That's gripsurgery.com.au.
What do elbows, knees, fists, head clashes and boots have in common? Well, they can all knock your teeth out. But not if you have a Pearl mouthguard. It can even be made in the colours of your team. Plus, your Pearl mouthguard can also be fully claimed on your private health cover, which your dentist can help with. Play it safe. Ask your dentist about a Pearl mouthguard. Search Pearl Dental SA for more.
Imagine you have a dog bounding across your garden of lush green turf. He jumps, he rolls, he lays on his back, feet in the air and gives himself a good old scratch. A dog really knows how to appreciate grass. And you can appreciate yours every day when you lay lawn in your garden from the Turf Farm. The Turf Farm plant it, nurture it, harvest it, deliver it. And importantly, they guarantee it. Trust the Turf Farm. Go to theturffarm.com.au.
South Australia is a great state, but it can be better. Cost of living is out of control. We'll make power cheaper by guaranteeing a new natural gas power station. We'll make it cheaper to see a GP by scrapping Labor's GP payroll tax, taking pressure off emergency departments. And we'll make regular Adelaide Metro trips just 50 cents, helping save time in traffic and our environment. That's how we'll get the important things right.
Authorised by AHIDE Liberal Party only.
If you're looking for custom-made lounge, dining, bedroom and cabinetry all made right here in SA, Nordic Design Furniture is the place. The designs and options are endless and fully customisable. Experience the quality and finish at Adelaide's only manufacturer's showroom. See how real furniture looks and feels. It's made right here by their artisans just for you. No longer Adelaide's best-kept secret. Open 7 days at 43 McGill Road, Stepney. Nordic Design Furniture. Yes, it's a Nordic.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. The state election is on March 21. Early voting period is from March 14 until 6 p.m. March 20. Voting, it's a good thing.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
21 after 6. I tell you what, the oil prices continue to moderate whilst we've been speaking, and I've now got a sense of what is adding to this. Yesterday, $118 a barrel. Right now, Brent crude is $30 below that mark. It's now down to 88. The normal order of business up until this point had been high 60s to low to mid 70s. Okay, so we're not miles away from that now. The reason? Donald Trump has just conducted an interview with CBS News in which he has spoken to a reporter who's tweeted, President Trump told me the war could be over soon. His quote, I think the war is very complete, pretty much. They have no Navy, no communications, no Air Force. The US is very far, quote, ahead of its initial 4 to 5 week estimated time frame. So that would seem to be something that's feeding into speculation now that maybe this disruption will not go on as long as we thought at various points over the weekend.
But didn't he say a few days ago it could go on for at least 4 weeks?
Yeah, that he did.
I mean, he's sort of got all the bases covered here in terms of the predictions. And the other point to be made about that as well, if Trump says it's over or it could be over soon, has anybody told the new Ayatollah, Mojtaba Khomeini, who apparently has already been injured?
Has he?
Yeah. Not badly, but he did himself a bit of a mischief getting around his digs. Like Mossad seem to know exactly where they are.
I like that joke going around, that dark humour joke going around about the United States at the moment and Donald Trump, that previously the US spent 2 decades and hundreds of billions of dollars to replace Islamic State with Islamic State in Afghanistan, and Donald Trump has only spent tens of billions of dollars and 2 weeks to replace Supreme Leader Khamenei with Supreme Leader Khamenei.
That's right.
So he's more efficient than they've ever been.
Exactly.
Now, let's talk about what the flow effects here in Adelaide and South Australia, the regions more broadly, where there's already been some shortages fuel-wise, certainly diesel. Jake Hill is the owner of the Karoonda Fuel Stop and joins us now. Jake, good morning.
Good morning.
So, Jake, what's the latest? How are you going in terms of supply there, mate?
We're not.
None.
It's been pretty much cut off to us.
So where would you get your petrol from normally? Who do you bring it in from?
So usually there's a couple of big companies, and we get ours effectively through OTR's chains of command. Yeah.
So why is it that? I mean, I'm in the inner southern suburbs of Adelaide. We haven't run out of petrol. Why is Karoonda running out of petrol? Is it because they're keeping it all for the metropolitan areas?
Yeah, entirely. So they're keeping it all for metropolitan. They're also keeping it for their own brands. There's multiple companies out there doing that, and they're little independents, including they are sacrificing some of their outer gas stations as well that isn't getting fuel.
So how many servos are there in Karoonda, Jake? I mean, no, it's not exactly New York City. Are you
there's one part-time, and then there's us, and we're 24/7, and we provide fuel to the emergency services, the school buses, pretty much everyone in town, all the farm, and they just can't get fuel.
So have you got any sort of a time frame?
When I flicked through a message asking for that, we got told you can order, but it probably won't turn up. And then the next message was, you can order, but it's probably going to be weeks.
Weeks?
Weeks.
Based on your knowledge of how the industry works, Jake, I can't imagine it's just a Karoonda problem. Will other regional towns, do you imagine, be facing similar issues and similar operators to your business?
It definitely is not just a Karoonda problem.
Yeah.
to Lamoureux, all through Murray Bridge, even down near you guys near Meadows, they've run out.
Yeah.
Up in the Riverlands, and all stretching through into Victoria Way as well.
Jake, have you had any conversations with mates and family, people in the community about how they adjust, how they will restructure their lives? I mean, thinking about country towns, weekend sport, for example, quite common for people to drive 50 Ks to play a footy match.
It definitely is, but all that's gone out the window. Farmers are currently talking about sharing fuel and just trying to figure it out. I mean, we're even sitting and contemplating how do we take our kids to school.
Yeah.
It's 50K trip to get to school sort of thing. And it's normal for everybody out here, and it's just, it has literally just stopped. We're down to the point that you're like, oh, well, you need to go hang out with the neighbour for the day so that they can hang out with you and share fuel, and it's just kind of what happens.
That's crazy. Well, Jake, it's a fascinating discussion, mate, and it sounds like a total schmozzle.
It gets worse.
Yeah. Well, we'll stay in touch on it. We appreciate you coming on today, Jake. Thank you.
I just got a text from someone on the text line. Adrian says the Woodcroft Caltex has run out as well. We'll keep a running tally of places that are being told either it's run out or like the Mogas at Meadows, where diesel you can only buy 20 litres at a time now, where there is active rationing going on. Give us a buzz, or you can text us 044808 1395 or call in on 8223 0000. We'll make sure you, our listeners, are across what's going on and where you can fill up, and I guess more pertinently where you can't. The weather today is about 15.4 degrees outside at the moment, heading for a warm top of 31. It cools down a little bit tomorrow, 26, then much more on Thursday, 23, mild sort of back end of the week, 24 on Friday, warming up for the weekend, 29 on Saturday, Sunday to 31, 0 to 2 millimetres of rain, and the same on Monday, 30, but also 0 to 2 millimetres of rain. I guess the notable development on the forecast there is the middle of the week doesn't contain any rain. We thought it might last week before we went into the long weekend, but now no rain on the forecast. Plenty of footy on our immediate future, and the Crows and Port join in the fun this week. Looking forward to it. Tom Wren in the 5AA Breakfast Studio with his winners and losers of the weekend. Get to Agostina Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes for the Outlander ES drive away from just $39,990. Morning, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Yeah, well, let's start with a bit of footy, winners and losers. Front page today, the Powers Teal Guernsey for Gather Round. I like it.
It's bright.
It is very bright, isn't it?
High vis.
Do you like it?
Yeah,
boys?
I reckon it's good.
Will, you a fan? Just having a look?
I mean, we're not going to start wearing teal.
Yeah, no, of course not.
Port fans wouldn't want us to.
You're a bit more reserved.
Jumper design doesn't do much. Doesn't move me much.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you.
It's what happens when they play in it. That's a fair enough call. Well, anyway, for those that haven't seen it, it's on the front page today. Winners and losers, though, in terms of football, I thought the Dogs were the big winners. That was easily the best game of the round.
I'd say it's the only good game of the round.
It was, yeah. I thought the Collingwood-St Kilda game was flat in terms of standard, but the Saints were a big loser for me. That was a game they sort of, I think, had to win. I don't know that the Pies are going to be that much chopped this year, but the Saints couldn't get it done. Scott Pendlebury was the marvel out of that game. He just still looks as good as ever. The other big losers, I thought, were Carlton and also Geelong. I'm prepared to give Geelong a mulligan, a leave pass.
Up there in Queensland too.
Yeah, and against Gold Coast.
How good did Gold Coast look?
Well, this is the thing. Gold Coast, I think, are going to be exceptional, so they're going to not lose too many games up there.
Petrarca looked 5 years younger.
Didn't he? It's the best I've seen him play in probably 5 years.
You know what he looked? He looked happy.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Being happy is such an important thing in life, isn't it?
Well, it's like when someone changes jobs sometimes, change of environment just totally recharges you and refreshes you. Other winners, George Russell won the Australian Grand Prix, which leads to the obvious loser. Oscar Piastri was, it just continues.
What a disaster.
This curse of Australian drivers at the Australian Grand Prix, they just cannot get it done.
The regulation change played havoc with that. It made it oddly compelling, watching the smartest engineers on planet Earth just struggle with this idea of how these new engines work. And the drivers were all sort of working it out. And it kind of felt like the group assignment that got left to the last minute, and people weren't ready. Aston Martin could barely roll a car out there.
I'm getting a bit of PSD with you saying that.
Yeah, I know.
That's why I
felt anxious watching it going, no one's ready for this.
Yeah.
But it was oddly compelling, albeit, poor old Oscar, that was a disaster.
It was a disaster. Brody Kostecki, another big winner from the weekend. He won the V8 races in Melbourne. And then yesterday, the reason we had the day off, I thought Morphettville and Racing SA did a brilliant job. There were nearly 9,000 fans there. It looked packed. It was sensational. I wasn't able to get there, but really good. And American Wolf, well done to Jet Stanley, who was on board, actually was dismounted off the horse after the post.
After he won.
Thankfully, he was okay. And because it's after the post, the result still stands, of course. So well done to all of the connections. Adelaide Cup was a big winner yesterday on a great day. So well done to everyone at Racing SA and at Morphettville.
Rennie, we've got to let you go, but you obviously you were responsible for a barrier draw on Friday as well. And how did that go?
Yes, I drew barrier. There were 18 barriers. Guess what barrier I drew? 18. I got the car park. My God.
You won't get asked again.
Never being asked back, which is good.
Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks, boys.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny and 31 for Adelaide today with the 6:30 news. Good morning, I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Had a collision? Get in touch with Premier Panel Services and have your car returned to its former beauty.
5 members of Iran's women's soccer team are under police protection this morning after escaping handlers at a Gold Coast hotel. Pressure mounting on the Australian government to grant the team asylum, with fears for their safety after they refused to sing the national anthem ahead of their opening game in the Women's Asian Cup. Matilda's defender Ellie Carpenter telling Today it's been difficult to watch on.
It's crazy what's happening in the world at the moment. Obviously we feel for them and we hope they're okay and safe.
Petrol analysts say there's no cause for alarm despite spiking fuel prices and reports of shortages. Conflict in the Middle East has triggered confusion and panic around both fuel pricing and availability. Petrol rising 4 times in 9 days across the Adelaide area to $2.13.9. Economist Dr. Ian Jeffries says consumers should know there is no supply issue.
There are some sites, and really very few sites, that have run low on fuel, and are some of them that are restricting supplies. Look, this is a local issue only, and it's largely due to panic buying. At the terminals, there isn't a problem.
The people who administer NAPLAN say it's being misused to exclude children from in-demand schools. More from reporter Gabrielle Hodson.
The man who effectively heads NAPLAN school testing wants an end to what he calls the horrendous misuse of scores as entry assessment tools for exclusive private schools and hard-to-enter government schools. The chief executive of the Australian Curriculum Assessment and Reporting Authority has told SMH The Age parents should refuse to hand over results for schools seeking them as part of enrolment. Stephen Ganil says the tests aren't designed to be entrance exams. They're a snapshot in time and not a definitive assessment of a child's skills. But some parents are giving their children 3 years of specialist NAPLAN tutoring in advance of the tests to help boost their chances of getting into a top school.
2 Australian men who murdered Melbourne man Zivan Radmanovic in a Bali villa have avoided the death penalty. An Indonesian court sentencing them to 16 years jail. The men argued they mistook him for someone they'd been hired to threaten over a debt. Lawyer Sari Latif says the victim's family is devastated by the sentence.
They had high hope for the judges to give higher or with what the prosecutor has demanded, but it's actually lower. At the moment, the victim's wife is speechless. She just cried, obviously.
The traditional King's Baton relay across the Commonwealth ahead of the Glasgow Games sets off this month, but it won't be going to Victoria. It'll tour every other Australian state and territory. It's further proof of the bad blood with organisers after Victoria walked away from the Commonwealth Games, which would have been due to open at the MCG next Tuesday. Turning to 5AA Sport.
Get to Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes for the Outlander ES. Drive away from just $39,990.
And with our sport, Tom Wren.
Thank you, Matty. Yeah, we're going to start with some football. Port Adelaide has revealed its playing strip for Gather Round. The players will wear a bright, predominantly teal Guernsey when they take on St Kilda in round 5. Meantime, Carlton has withdrawn Sam Docherty from a club function ahead of Thursday night's game against Richmond. Blues chief executive says the decision has been made to support the club's people internally. The ex-Carlton captain had a voice note played of him criticising the Blues on a podcast without his permission. Doherty telling Wide World of Sports he does love the club.
Lie in the bed that's been made for me in some aspects, but I do want to say one quick thing. Just with all the fans out there, and especially the Carlton fans, I do love the club, and I think that's getting lost a little bit.
And the Giants are seeking an allowance to cover match payments for Sam Taylor. The defender is out for at least another 4 weeks with a hamstring injury during February's State of Origin match. Clubs are being asked about when is the best time to play the game. Briefly elsewhere, South Australia is set to fight Victoria for hosting rights to the 2028 T20 Men's World Cup cricket final. And Alex de Minaur has just gone down in straight sets to 27th seed Cam Norrie. That's in the third round at Indian Wells. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thank you, Reddy. Now 5AA's forecast.
Stuck in traffic? Road trip differently in the Northern Territory. northernterritory.com/drive.
Sunny and 31 today, partly cloudy tomorrow 26, cloudy for Thursday and Friday, tops of 23. Right now it's 15, 5AA, always Adelaide.
Who on earth gave them their driving licence? Learn how to merge! Merge! Come on! How many imbeciles can you actually put on one road? 30 kilometres per hour, driving Miss Daisy! Use your indicators, yeah? Bloody hell.
Beat the heat. Keep cool with Fix Now, Pay Later options available. Book now. For great service guaranteed, call 1300 Automasters.
Are you fed up with tense muscles, stress and muscle cramps keeping you up at night? Introducing Caruso's Mega Magnesium Complex. Caruso's Mega Magnesium Complex contains 7 forms of magnesium, including magnesium glycinate and bisglycinate for superior absorption. It relieves muscle cramps when dietary intake is inadequate, supports muscle relaxation and healthy stress response in the body. So if you're looking forward to cramp-free nights, try Caruso's Mega Magnesium Complex today. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
You don't just cook a barbie, you command it. You're the head of the grill, the keeper of the flame, the sovereign of the snag, which is exactly why your kingdom deserves an Adelaide outdoor kitchen. Choose the best appliances at a bar fridge, a pizza oven, or make jaws drop with a custom-made concrete benchtop designed as a statement piece.
Plus, there's indoor bench tops, handmade, one of a kind, nothing off the shelf. Every piece crafted just for you. No two slabs are ever the same. Experience the Wow Factor range in person at the Seafood Meadows showroom on Farrow Circuit, or contact Adelaide Outdoor Kitchens for more information.
Serious hosts have serious kitchens. Build yours with Adelaide Outdoor Kitchens. Visit adelaideoutdoorkitchens.com.au.
I'll grab a few people I know. We'll mark out some places to go. There's no invitation, just a destination, and that's the best freedom I know. Jump in the Jayco. Jump in the Jayco. Yeah, that's the best freedom I know.
When you're receiving support at home, feeling comfortable with the people who help makes all the difference. You want someone who understands your routines, someone who listens, someone you can connect with. That's why Nurturing Independence takes a personal approach. Your match with support that suits your life, not a generic plan. It means you'll see familiar faces and receive help that strengthens your independence and your confidence at home. Visit nurturingindependence.com.au.
The Adelaide Showground Farmers Market has a producer's guarantee. Everything is produced by the people selling it, so it's all local. It means you know who distilled your gin, who baked your bread, whose chooks laid your eggs, and who picked your veggies. It means less food miles, reducing your carbon footprint, and your food is tastier, fresher, and often lasts longer. Join as a member at the Adelaide Showground Farmers Market to save 10% on everything all year long. Visit us every Sunday morning from 8:30 to 12:30.
30 kilometres per hour, driving Miss Daisy! Use your indicators, yeah?
Keep your cool in traffic with ice cold aircon from Automasters. Fix now, pay later options available. Call 1300 Automasters.
The state election is on March 21. Early voting period is from March 14 until 6 p.m. March 20. Voting, it's a good thing.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
20 minutes to 7. Police and weather coming up this half hour. Seoul Eastlake before 7 o'clock. When we originally booked Seoul Eastlake, we thought we were going to be talking about Armageddon on the US stock market today, and petrol prices in the high $10s, maybe to the $20s. I mean, yesterday the NAB predicted inflation in Australia would hit 5%. Today, the Dow Jones went up and Brent crude's barely at $90. It's gone up 1% since the start of the war, largely because this interview that Donald Trump's done where he says that the war is almost over. And look, we'll have to see how that plays out, but that's certainly changed the complexion of some of these conversations this morning.
Look, I think if you're on the cusp of retirement and you're frantically sort of sweating over your superannuation nest egg, now's the time to just tune out.
Lose your login details.
Yeah. Just wake me up when all this blows over.
On the strength of what we're seeing internationally today, you'll see a bit of a bounce back, you'd imagine, today. And it's all because of one tweet. Remarkable how the world works these days. Let's head to Chris Reason, who's in Tel Aviv, literally in the firing line, where he's been providing us with peerless reporting here on 5AA and for 7 News. Chris, can we start with this revelation from Donald Trump that this conflict may be nearing something of a conclusion? Markets have reacted to it. Has it filtered its way through to Israel and to you there?
It has, yeah. I mean, good morning to you guys. It's an extraordinary development, but look, it's no surprise, is it? We've actually been thinking for the entire duration of this war. What are you up to? Day 10 now. When will Donald Trump lose interest and decide to flick onto something else? And it looks like that moment is looming. Now, Mr. Trump has said, and I can quote the words here from CBS, I think the war is very much complete, pretty much, he said. They have no Navy, no communications, they've got no Air Force, their missiles are down to a scatter, their drones are being blown up all over the place, including their manufacturing of drones. If you look, they have nothing left. There's nothing left in a military sense. Now, it sounds to me, and I don't know, this is going on a bit of a limb, but as though he's preparing the way to cut and run, to get out of this. He can announce that, he's had some success in regime change. He's got rid of the Ayatollah. He's got rid of the swathe of significant senior leadership within the regime, and he has decimated their military to a large degree. Is it time for him to pull out and start the next project? Greenland, Cuba, Mexico, Canada, who knows?
But, Chris, aren't there still missiles being launched? I mean, there's been a report overnight here that a ballistic missile was fired at Turkey. There was still incidents over the weekend in Dubai. There's been a lot of saber-rattling by the UAE about Iran's conduct. And also, and this, I guess, goes to the confusion about whether regime change was part of this mission or not. No, we're not allowed to call it a war. But we do have a new little Temu Ayatollah running the joint now, don't we?
Well, exactly. And you're not wrong, Dave, because, yesterday we were at our hotel and a block away, a cluster bomb dropped, and we were there within minutes, and it's quite terrifying to see the devastation that those things cause. And I went to another one today that landed into the heartland of Tel Aviv. They are still firing these missiles. They are still smashing up the surrounds around them, not just Israel, but the Gulf countries as well. And as you rightly point out, quite terrifyingly, also Turkey, a NATO member, and bristling with anger right now about the fact that it's now had two ballistic missiles had enter its airspace and had to be shot down. I was reading one military analyst earlier today saying if it happens a third time, there's a good chance that Turkey, with its massive military resource, I think the second biggest standing army in Europe with 500,000 people, that Turkey would want to hit back. And that, technically, theoretically, is Europe getting involved, and then it takes a whole new complexion.
You spoke, Chris, and you've spoken with a number of high-ranking members of the Israeli government. I think it was the foreign minister on 7 the other night, and they were talking about, in fact, you spoke to us afterwards, the sort of very cold language used to talk about removing who would ultimately become the next supreme leader. But based on your conversations with high-ranking Israeli officials, does it feel like they have an appetite to end the war this quickly, or is from their perspective there's still mission objectives that are to be completed?
Yeah, no, absolutely. The Israelis want this to go as long as possible, and they are using every single minute of this campaign to continue their objectives, and that's to basically wipe out the military stores, the ballistic missiles particularly, and, of course, the nuclear ambitions of Iran. And they're almost, I can't quite work out the figures yet, but I think they're almost running it almost seems a tempo twice as hard as the Americans. They're running their jets and their sorties day and night, just continually bombing. And because this is their window, they only want to do it while the Americans are with them, and they know, I think because of what we said when we opened the show, that they knew that Mr. Trump's attention span was going to be short and might only have a couple of weeks before he gets pressured back home to drop out. So they're using every single minute of that couple of weeks. Now, you talk about senior members of the Israeli government. Today, we, 7 News, got an exclusive interview with the president, Isaac Herzog, and we went out to his residence in Jerusalem and sat down with him. We had 15 minutes to chew the fat about all of these issues. And I asked him about appetite for more and how long this would take. And he said he was still talking in terms of weeks, not months. And he was saying, I didn't apologise to the Australian people, but he offered an explanation to the Australian people, saying that the current high prices of fuel and the economic turbulence and the tourism chaos that has been a result of this war, he promised would not last much longer, and he said it would soon be finished and things would return to normal and the world would be much safer. It was fascinating talking to him, and he also had insights on the new Supreme Leader as well.
Great stuff as always, Chris. Yep. Thank you for that. Chris Reason, 7 News Chief Reporter in Tel Aviv. Seriously, some of the stupid bloody texts we get on this program sometimes. Couple here. Is there any chance you can talk to someone that does not suffer from Trump derangement syndrome? Can I just say, for your benefit, we are now in day 7 of totally applauding the distraction of the Iranian military and the death of a mad theocrat in the Ayatollah Khomeini by Donald Trump. So if you haven't cottoned on to that point yet, maybe you need to get an adult to help you listen to the program so you understand it.
There are some people that don't anything other than unadorned admiration is somehow...
Seriously. So I just can't believe it. And it sort of makes you wonder why you bother getting up so damn early in the morning to broadcast for people like this. I'll give you a tip too. If you're using the term Trump derangement syndrome, you have got Trump derangement syndrome.
Now, just don't go all Jackie O on me here.
Oh,
and all right,
seriously?
Don't go Jackie on me. Just calm.
You know my views about Kyle and Jackie
I know.
O.
I don't want you to do a walkout.
Nah, no, it wouldn't be because of you, but because of some of these texts.
That's all right. It's two of about 100,000 people.
But seriously,
right.
just how can people be so in love with someone that they can't
a foreign
understand?
Politician.
Yeah, somebody not even Australian.
It's just bizarre. All right, let's head to the Weather Bureau. Jenny Horvat at the Weather Bureau joins us. Morning to you, Jenny.
Good morning, guys.
Now, Jenny, the weather
Beautiful
today.
weather.
Now,
how good was the weekend?
The weekend was spectacular. Today looks pretty nice, but no rain this next couple of days now.
No, we do even have a little bit of a change moving through tomorrow, but yeah, I think it's very slim to see some shower activity around tomorrow. But back to today, pretty sunny conditions we are expecting. Currently it is 15.4 degrees at the West Terrace Night Apira observation site. Minimum temperature of 13.8 happened at around 3 a.m. this morning, and we are looking at a top temperature of 31 degrees in the city, maybe 33 across the northern suburbs, 30 along the coast, 33 for Mount Barker. So pretty light winds out there. We expect them to shift a bit sort of northerly as we head into the overnight period, and that's ahead of this change that we are expecting to come through during the morning. So we'll see those winds shifting south-southwesterly during Wednesday morning. So that minimum temperature a little bit on the warm side there, 19 degrees, and then that maximum back down to around 26 tomorrow. Look, there could be a few spots as that change moves through tomorrow during the day, more likely around the hills and southern suburbs, but again, we're not expecting too much with that. Southerly airstream continuing as we head into Thursday and tending southeasterly, so any showers that would be around, again, not likely to see them in the city, maybe on the eastern sides of the hills. We could see a little bit of shower activity on the Thursday there. A little bit of a cooler day, 23 degrees after a minimum of 14. Start to see that cloud breaking up on Friday, back up to around 24 degrees, and maybe some warmth coming through as we head into the weekend there. We've got 29 on the forecast for Saturday. Maybe a possible shower on Sunday, but again, quite a lot of uncertainty with that system coming through at the end of the week, early next weekend, but potentially temperatures getting back into the low 30s there, guys.
All right, good stuff, Jenny. Thank you. Jenny Horvat at the Weather Bureau. Let's head to St. Paul. Senior Constable Matt Brown's on the line. Matt, I'm just trying to make sense of this. A driver lost his wheel and then his licence. What happened?
That's right. It was a bit of a spectacular crash out at Dry Creek late last night, guys. About 10:16 p.m, police and emergency services were called to the Port River Expressway after a Hyundai sedan had collided with the guardrail, losing its back left wheel before turning west onto the Salisbury Highway. The car then headed south on Hanson Road before being located by police on Wilkins Road at Wingfield. It was kind of easy for them to locate the car, just to follow the trail of debris all along the roads. And the driver, a 19-year-old Taparoo man, underwent a breath test and returned a positive reading of 0.084 and was reported for drink driving, aggravated driving without due care and breach of provisional licence conditions. He was issued a 6-month immediate loss of licence notice. He'll be summoned to appear in court at a later date. So I guess the only three-wheel vehicle he'll be riding is a tricycle.
Yeah, absolutely. At least you won't need to find petrol for it. Matt, also... a high-range drink driver, another one, caught at Panorama this morning.
That's right, Dave. About 2 a.m. today, police were travelling on Goodwood Road when they saw a Toyota Ute turn into the back streets when the driver saw the police car. And so police followed the Toyota and stopped the driver, and he underwent a breath test and returned a positive reading of 0.179. But the driver was arrested for hindering police, failing to answer questions, and drive with excess blood alcohol. So he's been refused bail, issued with a 12-month immediate loss of licence notice, and his car was impounded for 28 days. So he'll appear in the Christie's Beach Magistrates Court later on today.
Good stuff, Matt. Thanks for that. Senior Constable Matt Brown from SAPOL.
All right, let's check traffic. If your car battery's dead, we'll call Batteries Direct and they'll come to you anytime with a new affordable battery installed.
Morning there. A few collisions to look out for this morning. Heading back to work, one at McDonald Park, Northern Expressway near Curtis Road. That's affecting Citybound, that one. Another smash at Penfield, Wamma Road near Andrews Road, and a boost watermain at Marston, South Road near Everard Avenue. Lights on the blink at the moment at Walkley Heights, that's due to a blackout. Bryans Road near South Terrace with a camera of the parade, Kensington Park. Get Blackmore's half price off RRP right now at Chemist Warehouse. Excludes bulk sizes. Sale ends tomorrow. Chemist Warehouse, great savings every day. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
March into Kia for an incredible finance deal on in-stock new and demo Tasman X Series models with Kia Finance. Approved ABN holders can get to work sooner with a 1.99 per annum interest rate. That's serious value on serious capability. Visit your nearest Kia dealership and test drive your Tasman today. Minimum $10,000 deposit, maximum finance amount $80,000. Maximum term 36 months, ends 31st of March. T's and C's, fees, charges and lending criteria apply. Hyundai Capital Australia Proprietary Limited. Australian credit licence 554051. Offer extended.
Kia, movement that inspires.
Hi, Sarah.
Your people were at my house yesterday.
Are you happy they came?
I never realised how much that rubbish was bothering me until it was gone. I feel great.
We love to give people that clean, happy feeling, Sarah. Thanks for calling.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
What should I do with all this open space now?
Well, that's up to you, Sarah. Just imagine the possibilities. We make junk disappear. All you have to do is point. Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.au.
This is the story of Tony by CLK Legal. Tony was a young man with a young family. He was employed as a labour hire worker.
Now, Tony hadn't been properly trained on how to use a piece of machinery. Unfortunately, he was seriously injured while using the machine, and this significantly impacted his life and his family's future.
Things were looking pretty bleak, but CLK Legal helped Tony successfully make a claim for workers' compensation benefits and also make a negligence claim against the host employer. Tony received the compensation he was entitled to, saving his family from years of hardship.
If you've been injured at work or labour hire work, you may have both a workers' compensation claim and a common law negligence claim. To get the compensation you deserve, visit clklegal.com.au. They're experts in personal injury law.
As a South Aussie-based not-for-profit health insurer, Health Partners isn't just your health partner. We're your tooth-checking partner, hammy-stretching partner, chart-squinting partner. We're your bone-mending, script-filling, arch-lifting, giving, salad-suggesting, generous limit-giving, member-supporting, SA-loving partner. So for great value health cover, there's no better partner in health than Health Partners. Health insurance made human.
This state election, it's a fit-in with you thing, with more ways to vote than ever. Early voting period ends at 6 p.m. on Friday, March 20. Voting, it's a good thing. Authorised by M. Sherry, Electoral Commissioner, Adelaide, South Australia.
G'day, Alan Gray here. Speaking mechanic to mechanic, we all know four-wheel drive safety starts with how well a vehicle handles and stops. Too often we see four-wheel drive setting off on the big family getaway, overloaded and underprepared. It's time to get Terrain Tamer ready with the right stopping power. For safety's sake, Terrain Tamer have loads of upgraded braking solutions, including larger calipers, heavy-duty pads, dual brake boosters, rotors and braided brake lines. To find out more, go to terraintamer.com.
The state election is on March 21. Early voting period is from March 14 until 6 p.m. March 20. Voting, it's a good thing.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
5 to 7, significant developments and some stories that have developed whilst you've been sleeping this morning. Tony Burke, the Home Affairs Minister, has just held a press conference with regard to the fate of the Iranian women's soccer team that's here in Australia, with the 5 have sought the opportunity to seek asylum here. The Prime Minister is going to speak very shortly about that story and indeed Australia's contribution. That word might be a bit liberal, the use of it, but he's talking about Australia and Iran. Let's put it that way. That's what's on the agenda when he talks.
And whether Australia is doing anything to help.
That's right. So we will talk about. We'll play you some of the Prime Minister after 7 o'clock when we hear from him. Now, Sol Eastlake is one of the best known and respected economists in the country. And when we called him yesterday to come on, I think at that point in time, Brent crude oil was about $118 a barrel. The Australian Stock Exchange was down about 4%. We had the NAB predicting 5% inflation later this year. And in the last hour or so, it's all changed a lot because of Donald Trump's comments about the war potentially being closer to over than many people realise. And that's moderated things. But there's still long-term concerns about what this oil shock will mean for the market, Sol. Good morning to you. Well, let's start with the newest development then. What's your sense of what the impact this is going to have on the Australian economy this morning, just before 7 a.m. Adelaide time, compared to what it was in sort of the midpoint of the afternoon yesterday?
Well, as I understand it, oil prices got up to $120 a barrel in the New York morning. And then, first of all, the G7 nations, that's the biggest 7 economies in the Western world, said that they would release oil from their strategic reserves in an attempt to contain the surge in prices. And then Donald Trump, somewhat later in the US day, said that he had a cunning plan to reduce oil prices, and subsequently said the war is very complete, pretty much. That's a direct quote. And that they had achieved their objectives, one of which apparently now isn't regime change in Iran, since there hasn't been a regime change in Iran. I'll leave it to other people to decide whether they can believe a word Trump says or not. But the market reaction, which obviously you can believe, has been to push oil prices down to, just as we're speaking now, $89.50 a barrel. Now, 2 things to say about that. One, it's a lot less worse than 120, but 2, it is still some $20 a barrel higher than it was before this war was started by Trump and Netanyahu. And so Australian motorists should expect that that what they're paying at the pump should be at least 20 cents a litre higher than it was 2 weeks ago. For some people, it's been a little higher than that, even though the petrol they've been buying wouldn't have been refined in Singapore after the war had started. And so, the ACCC ought to be looking into that. If oil prices settle where they are, and I'm not predicting that, I have no idea, to be honest with you, but if they do, then that will add to headline inflation. The Reserve Bank, which most recently forecast headline inflation would peak at 4.2% over the year to the June quarter, they'll have to revise that up. But if that's all that happens, then we need to keep an eye on gas prices and the way that feeds into electricity prices, which it did in the aftermath of Putin's invasion of Ukraine, and it could do again with effect from 1 July this year, when retail prices are typically reset if the oil price and gas prices haven't come down. But beyond that, If that's as far as it goes, then there probably won't be much feed-through into the prices of other goods and services, which is what would most worry the Reserve Bank. I mean, otherwise, if all that happens is that petrol prices go up a bit, the impact of that on the economy and on households' ability to spend on a range of goods and services is actually quite similar to the impact of higher interest rates. When interest rates go up, people with mortgages have to spend more servicing their mortgages and don't have as much money to spend on other things, which reduces the demand for those other things and hence upward pressure on the prices of them. The same thing's broadly true about petrol. We don't have a lot of choice in the short term about how much we drive and therefore how much petrol we have to buy. And when petrol prices are higher, we have less money to spend on other things, which reduces the demand for those other things and hence removes potentially one source of upward pressure on the prices of those things. So the Reserve Bank isn't going to respond to higher oil prices, petrol prices in isolation by raising interest rates more than they otherwise would. It's only if they have reason to think that those higher oil prices are going to feed through in a wide range of other goods and services prices, which they will do if oil prices stay high for a long time, but they probably won't if this is only brief. And if people then start to expect that inflation will remain high and behave in ways that make it more likely that it will remain high, well, they can't ignore that. But at the moment, it's too early to tell.
The minutes of the next RBA meeting are going to make fascinating reading. Sol, fantastic analysis as always. Great to chat with you. Saul Eastlake, economist, our guest.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
Adelaide's news leader for 50 years. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny and 31 with the 7 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Need a crash repairer you can trust? Premier Panel Services delivers expert care to you and your vehicle.
Multiple countries across the Middle East say they've intercepted more Iranian missiles. Turkey, the UAE and Qatar have all intercepted ballistic strikes and or drones, while Israel has also detected further missiles launched by Tehran. The UK's Defence Secretary John Healey telling British Parliament they want to see the Iranian regime stop more strikes.
The Iranian regime is a destructive force which has slaughtered protesters in its own streets and inflicts terrible suffering, especially against its own people.
Global oil prices soaring, reaching $1.16 a barrel amid fears the war in Iran could send the US into a recession. Crude oil prices, which have climbed by 30%, are higher than in the early days of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. G7 finance ministers expected to hold an emergency meeting to discuss the possible release of oil from petroleum reserves. In Adelaide, petrol has spiked 4 times since the start of the conflict 9 days ago, rising from $1.80 to $2.14. Jake Hill runs the Karoonda fuel stop and has told 5AA Breakfast regional areas are running dry.
So they're keeping it all for Metropolitan. They're also keeping it for their own brand. There's multiple companies out there doing that, and they're little independents, including they are sacrificing some of their outer gas stations as well that isn't getting fuel.
5 members of Iran's women's soccer team are under police protection after escaping handlers at a Gold Coast hotel. Pressure mounting on the Australian government to grant the team asylum. There are fears for their safety after they refused to sing the national anthem ahead of their opening game in the Women's Asian Cup. Oz Iran founder Rana Dadpour says they'd have nothing to go back to.
In order to take part in any tournament, they usually are forced to sign some forms and basically give the control of their assets to the IRGC and the regime in case, they do something that the regime doesn't like, so they can actually take everything off them.
The Prime Minister about to address the media on the issue of asylum. The definition of terrorism will be investigated today as part of a public hearing. Witnesses, including a Lint Cafe siege survivor and Director General of ASIO, Mike Burgess, expected to give evidence over the 2-day sitting. Independent National Security Legislation Monitor Jake Blight says it's important the term is reviewed for the modern era.
The definition of terrorism underpins literally hundreds of Commonwealth, state and territory laws. It's a definition that hasn't been changed in 25 years, but the world's changed a lot in that time and terrorism has changed.
A 19-year-old driver has lost his licence after a crash at Dry Creek, his Hyundai sedan colliding with a guardrail, losing a wheel before turning west onto the Salisbury Highway. Senior Constable Matt Brown says the loss of the wheel didn't stop the driver.
The car then headed south on Hanson Road before being located by police on Wilkins Road at Wingfield. It was kind of easy for them to locate the car, just to follow the trail of debris all along the roads. And the driver, a 19-year-old Taparoo man, underwent a breath test and returned a positive reading of 0.084.
The man reported for drink driving, aggravated driving without due care and breaching his P plate. A new study has found children who consume excessive digital media more likely to have behavioural problems. The James Cook Uni research finding higher levels of social media use consistently linked to depressive symptoms, a higher risk of drug use and self-harm, and poor school performance.
Pluto the Play at Her Majesty's Theatre.
Turning to 5AA Sport.
Get to Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes for the Outlander ES. Drive away from just $39,990.
Not one of the better introductions, Tom Wren.
No, we got there all good, Matty, and we're going to start with a little bit of football because Brisbane is set to head before the AFL Tribunal tonight. The Lions appealing the bans handed down to Harris Andrews and Darcy Gardner. Meantime, Carlton has told ex-captain Sam Docherty he's not welcome at a club function. That's ahead of Thursday night's match against Richmond. It follows friend and former teammate Daniel Gorringe broadcasting Docherty's thoughts about the side's loss to Sydney from a voice note not intended to be broadcast. Blues Chief Executive Graham Wright says the decision has been made to support the club's people internally. Commentator Matthew Lloyd telling Footy Classified there were a lot of truths to what Docherty said.
So I think if they could look deeper, they've got to say he's got a lot of points to what he's making here, but it's probably the way he went about it. But he was let down, as I've said before. He was let down, so he never would have thought this would come and air the way it was aired.
The Matildas will face North Korea in the Women's Asian Cup quarterfinals in Perth on Friday. Australia's opponents were confirmed after China topped Group B last night with a 2-1 win against North Korea. Well, Alex de Minaur is out of the prestigious Indian Wells tournament. The Aussie world number 6 has gone down in straight sets against Cam Norrie. Connections is celebrating American Wolves' victory at yesterday's Adelaide Cup. The Jet Stanley-ridden 4-year-old took out the event in a photo finish ahead of Highland Bling. And West Ham leads Brentford 2-1, heading into the second half of their FA Cup clash this morning. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thank you, Tom. 5AA's traffic.
Pluto the Play at Her Majesty's Theatre from 21 March. 2 weeks only. Don't miss out. Book now.
Morning there. Quite a few things to look out for this morning. If you're heading to work, a crash at Croydon, north-south motorway near Torrens Road. Another smash, Flagstaff Hill, Carvey motorcycle there, Flagstaff Hill Road near Bonneview Road. And a smash at Penfield to look out for, Wamma Road near Andrews Road. Getting busy, South Road, Edwardstown with a camera, Gorge Road, Athelston. Carpet Court's a big brand. Sale is on now. Save on carpet, hard flooring, window furnishings and rugs. Plus, earn double Qantas points on now at Carpet Court. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Stuck in traffic? Road trip differently in the Northern Territory. northernterritory.com/drive.
Sunny today and 31, partly cloudy 26 tomorrow, cloudy Thursday and Friday 23. Right now it's 15. 5AA, always Adelaide.
Setting the agenda for South Australia. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Don't go Jackie O on me.
The state election is on March 21. Early voting period is from March 14 until 6 p.m. March 20. Voting, it's a good thing.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
So I've always got to listen to the first hour. You never know what you're going to hear. And the highlight might not make sense to you. And we're not going to go over it again. 9 after 7, good morning to you. If you're joining us for the first time on this Tuesday, the 10th of March. As you've said in 5AA News, the good news is that financial markets across the world have moderated a lot. We just spoke with Sol Eastlake a moment ago, who set out precisely why, a host of measures, but most recently, Donald Trump's optimism that the war is ending sooner than he had originally anticipated. And that has calmed a lot of fears. Hasn't magically put petrol back in Bowsers in regional South Australia, though.
Jack asked a very straightforward question, and I think a lot of our listeners would totally agree with the sentiment. Jack says, so does that mean petrol should drop 20 cents a litre today if the oil barrel prices drop $20 a barrel?
Well, I have been watching all weekend the West Terrace BP unleaded 91 price, because remember our nearest to the pin on Friday is what that was, what that is going to be at 8 a.m. this morning. Hasn't had a really dynamic reaction, is what I would say, to the change in the oil barrel price overnight. So we will watch that one with interest. I think anyone who's older than 5 will have had enough lived experience to know that they tend to go down slower than the speed at which they rise up. So
it's the same sort of approach you see with an interest rate cut or an interest rate increase. The increases are passed on in eye-watering record time. The reductions, sometimes you don't get the letter for about 3 weeks.
They need a meeting. They always have to have a meeting about the reductions.
They get the real can-do people on when rates go up, and the really slow-witted ones to do it when rates go down. Same with petrol.
The same with petrol. But we are still getting reports. A few people have said that the Costco might not have any petrol this morning. Can anyone go past and let us know whether that's the case? A few people have texted saying it's not appearing on their Fuel Watch app, and they're wondering whether there's any there. We certainly know there's rationing in places like Meadows on diesel, and we spoke to the operator of the Karoonda
on the upside,
station.
though, you can still get 10 kilograms of grated Monterey Jack cheese.
See, there you go. Economies of scale.
Then throw 3 kilos out when you realise it's past the use-by date and you bought too much.
Now, we are a week away. We're less than a week away from 5AA turning 50. And over the course of the last couple of weeks, we've been counting down some wonderful historic moments and occurrences in South Australia over the course of the 50 years that 5AA has been broadcasting. And so we continue today with one I'm sure that a lot of people remember.
5AA turns 50. A lot has happened in that time.
In 1986, Dire Straits made history in Adelaide, playing to more than 50,000 fans at Footy Park on their Brothers in Arms tour. At the peak of their success, the band delivered a legendary set featuring classics like Money for Nothing, Sultans of Swing and Walk of Life. The massive crowd and flawless musicianship made it one of SA's most unforgettable live outdoor concerts.
Just want to thank everybody down here in Australia, and this is a great time.
Connected to our community for 50 years. 5AA, always Adelaide.
1986, Dire Straits. Who was there? 8223 0000. If we say Dire Straits in that 1986 concert, what's the first memory that pops into your head? We'd love to hear yours. Love our walks down memory lane with the 5AA 50 years countdown. 8223 0000 is the number. The Prime Minister has just taken to the podium in Canberra to speak on a couple of issues. One of those is Australia's contribution to what's happening in Iran, but also the fate of the Iranian women's soccer team, which we learned a little bit more about 30 minutes ago when the Foreign Affairs Minister Tony Burke spoke. Have a listen.
In the very early hours of yesterday morning, the conversation started in earnest. Once that happened, during the course of yesterday, it was made clear that there were 5 women who wanted to be able to stay in Australia. They were moved to a safe location by the Australian Federal Police, and last night I met with them at that location. I signed off last night for their applications to go onto humanitarian visas, and at a little bit after 1:30 a.m. this morning, the processing was completed by the Department of Home Affairs. I say to the other members of the team, the same opportunity is there. Australia has taken the Iranian women's soccer team into our hearts. These women are tremendously popular in Australia, but we realise they are in a terribly difficult situation with the decisions that they're making. But the opportunity will continue to be there for them to talk to Australian officials if they wish to.
The thing that kicked this along overnight was Donald Trump started posting on Truth Social saying if the Australian government doesn't do something about helping these women out, he will.
Well, and Trump rightly at the time did it on the basis of the fact that all of the comments up until this, it sounds like a total U-turn by the Albanese government, because all of the comments up until then had been, no, we have a system and that's not the way it works. And now the government here is saying that they're the saviours of these 5 women. I couldn't agree more with Trump on it. And I was thinking all along, those poor women, like, they've been denounced on state television as traitors in a country that has an appalling human rights record, appalling treatment of women, and they're going to fly back there when you've had people on state-owned TV saying that they've disgraced their country and that the penalties that they face should be severe. That was the quote. So, I think it's a good thing that we're letting them stay.
Yeah.
Wonder how many others will want to stay as well. I mean, we're not talking about a deluge, we're talking about a soccer squad.
Yeah. All right. We will learn more with the Prime Minister speaking right at this moment. Ashley's called in. Ashley, you've just been past Costco. You think there's fuel there?
Yeah, there most certainly is. Didn't show up on the petrol supply app, but I went down there and unleaded $1.82, diesel's $1.98.
Well, that's good to know, Ashley.
Good on you,
Thanks
Ashley.
for doing that, actually. That's
You're a
good,
legend, Ashley. Thank you for that.
We can't have people everywhere, but Ashley's our new What's Happening at Costco correspondent.
Costco correspondent,
Good
Ashley.
on you, mate.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I've looked on the app. It is weird. It shows up as not available, the price.
We should give Ashley some Wallace Cinema tickets.
Yeah, let's do that.
Good on you, mate.
That was great, Ashley. Thanks for calling in. Petrol, very much front of mind for everyone. It was front of mind for former Senator for South Australia, Rex Patrick, for the entirety of his parliamentary career, who at various stages raised questions about Australia's lack of fuel security, paid for a huge number of freedom of information requests regarding the documentation of what was going on with the sovereign fuel capacity in Australia, and kept saying, we are heading towards disaster. Well, I imagine this was the kind of scenario that he feared playing out. War in the Middle East, Straits of Hormuz being blockaded, and fuel struggling to get here to Australia. Rex Patrick, good morning to you.
Good morning.
I mean, is this the nightmare scenario that you were trying to warn against?
Oh, look, it is a scenario that I was trying to warn against. We focus a lot spending defence money on future hypothetical conflicts that might occur with Australia directly involved. But we have always been vulnerable in terms of fuel. It doesn't have to be a conflict that involves Australia, as we see, and successive governments have done very little. We're left in a situation where, despite what Chris Bowen said last week in the Parliament, where he said we had 34 days of diesel, we actually have 25 days of diesel here in Australia. Barnaby Joyce, when he asked him the question at question time, pulled Bowen up because Bowen was including fuel that was on its way to Australia, and that's not been the way that we've measured it in the past.
So, Rex, are other countries equally sort of too laid back by half when it comes to their fuel supplies, or are we sort of the worst offenders on this front?
Look, generally, most countries that have signed up to the International Energy Agency's agreements on fuel security have 90 days of fuel security. And in fact, we're about to see that exercise. You'll see the G7 were talking overnight, potentially releasing some of that reserve. Some people remember we bought fuel and put it into the strategic reserve in Texas in the United States during COVID. Not as many people know that when the Ukraine war started, actually the Australian government were asked to sell that by the International Energy Agency. So, part of what happens here is that internationally we will see the International Energy Agency start to request countries to release some of their strategic reserves. Australia will not be able to help in that regard.
Rex, so what would the cost be if we were to meet that 90-day reserve obligation? You there, Rex?
I think we've lost Rex.
We've lost Rex.
Either that or you finally stumped him.
No Rex. No,
maybe you've offended him in some way.
Yeah, quite possibly.
I tell you what, we've had an interesting insight in the last few days over what the world would look like if the Greens were in charge. No long flights, no car travel. We've just got to stay home, listen to the John Butler trio.
Devolution.
What a way to live, eh?
Degrowth? Is it degrowth that they call it? We should all have less. We should have less of everything. Like. We're all living too high on the hog.
Here's what. Surely even the most wavering occasional Green voter would look at the last few days and go, on balance, how good are fossil fuels? We're not going to get from A to B somehow, don't we?
That we do. The Prime Minister's just finished speaking. He's got Richard Marles, the Defence Minister, with him at the podium. Let's have a quick listen of what he's had to say about Australia's contribution to the war in the Middle East.
Australia will deploy an E-7A wedge-tail to the Gulf to help protect and defend Australians and other civilians. The wedge-tail will provide long-range reconnaissance capability, which will help to protect and secure the airspace above the Gulf. The wedge-tail and supporting Australian Defence Force personnel will be deployed for an initial 4 weeks in support of the collective self-defence of Gulf nations. Additionally, in response to a request, my government intends to provide advanced medium-range air-to-air missiles to the United Arab Emirates.
So the wedge-tail will be on mission in the Middle East, and air-to-air missiles will be provided to the UAE. The Prime Minister stressing a defensive capacity that they will be playing, albeit the wedge-tail can be used for targeting as well, but it sounds like it'll be more used to monitor the airspace but that's in areas where there are Australians.
That's Australia getting involved, though, isn't it?
That is Australia getting involved, absolutely.
Which I think a lot of us would say good.
Yeah, don't have any issue. There's a lot of Australian interests, obviously, as well, as we're learning, somewhat expensively. So that has just been, Penny Wong is now just speaking, the Foreign Minister. Richard Marles has spoken. So that press conference is ongoing. As we learn more, we will bring it to you here on 5AA Breakfast. Let's check traffic. And in a moment, we will talk sport. But traffic first. If your car battery's dead, call Batteries Direct and they'll come to you anytime with a new affordable battery installed.
Morning there. Crash at Croydon to look out for this morning. It's on the north-south motorway near Torrens Road. Quite big delays inbound through there at the moment. Also got some other delays with the motorcycle crash at Flagstaff Hill Road near Bonneview Road, and another collision at Penfield, Wammer Road near Andrews Road this morning. Cameras, Arthur Street, Tranmere and McGill Road, McGill. Quitting smoking can be hard, but every time you choose not to smoke, you improve your health. Search Give Up for Good or download the new My Quit Buddy app to quit. Brought to you by the Australian Government, Canberra. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Graham Goodings. On the subject of the long weekend, the Adelaide Cup Day, is that relevant? Was it ever relevant? Where we have a public holiday, the state stands still, comes to a grinding halt for a race, and it's not even a top-level race. Graham Goodings. Now, I'm not saying let's get rid of the public holiday, but is that an appropriate reason to have a public holiday? Weekday mornings from 9 on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Hi, I'm Mark Aldridge from United Voice Australia Party. We're a team of experienced advocates seeking to unite everybody together in the community. We have innovative and compassionate policies to address affordable housing, power, cost of living, homelessness and unity. And our ailing health system needs more than just a few beds. Whether it's animal welfare, voting reform, protecting farmers or community safety, vote United Voice Australia and enjoy responsible policies. Spoken and authorised by M. Aldridge for United Voice Australia, Lot 105, Taylors Road, Penfield Gardens, 5121.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. The Lynn Andrews team have seen a lot of change in real estate over the past 50 years, but one thing remains unchanged: our passion to help people invest in their future. To build strong property portfolios in either the residential or the commercial sectors. Our commitment to property investment over the years means we have a wealth of knowledge to share. We're here to help you. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
If your lawn's looking thin, patchy or just plain tired, let's be honest, grabbing whatever's on special at the hardware store probably isn't going to fix it. There is, David, a better way.
This stuff's great. Lawn Hub's Lawn Care Essentials pack. It's made properly. You get 5 pro-grade lawn treatments, the same sort used on stunning world-class golf courses, just packaged for home lawns like yours and mine.
And here's what everyone loves. It comes with an easy-to-follow application calendar. It literally tells you what to use and when. 4 simple steps. Lawn Hub is South Australian owned, and these products are locally developed for Aussie conditions. They're not mass-produced shelf fillers.
And right now, every single order placed during March puts you in the draw to win an Allett cylinder mower. Those mowers are so good, and it's worth nearly $5,000. Your order is your entry. Order direct online now at lawnhub.com.au. T's and C's apply.
Time to Pixter. Around 70% of serious dental problems start in the gaps between teeth. Pixters clean those gaps like floss, only easier. Keep by your toothbrush and use daily. Have you Pixtered today?
Are you recovering from injury or managing joint or muscle pain? Kiesa Physiotherapy, Rehabilitation and Strength Training programs are your first step to moving with confidence. Discover the Kiesa difference at our National Open Day this Saturday, March 14 from 8 to 3. Learn how strength can support your long-term health. Try Kiesa's exclusive Swiss-engineered machines and even test your strength. With 33 clinics nationwide, it's easy to get started at Kiesa. Find a Kiesa near you at kieser.com.au.
The most frustrating thing about having your car repaired after a collision can be the wait. Sometimes months. At FIVEAA Panel Services, the wait is one thing you won't have to worry about. We've expanded our workshop and our highly skilled team. It means we're better equipped to deliver an outstanding outcome for you and your car. RAA and MTA approved, FIVEAA Panel Services work with most insurance companies. So ask for FIVEAA Panel Services and get back on the road sooner.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
The state election is on March 21. Early voting period is from March 14 until 6 p.m. March 20. Voting, it's a good thing.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
25 after 7. Mixed reviews for Dire Straits back in 1986. David on the text line says, I rode a bike to Footy Park and listened to Dire Straits from outside. Got inside for the encore, which included the Going Home instrumental by Mark Knopfler, which was incredible. Then Quinton says, I was at Dire Straits and I've got to say it's possibly the worst, most boring concert I've ever been to.
Oh, come on.
Would have been more fun sitting in my car in the car park of Westlakes listening to a cassette of Dire Straits. Our news director, Matt Pantelis, was there. He says the image he has that comes to mind when we talk about it is the spotlight on Mark Knopfler's guitar as he strummed the opening notes to Romeo and Juliet. Thank you for that, Pants. Hey, big name on the sports show tonight. Love Eddie Maguire's contributions to the sports show. Don't miss him tonight. All thanks to Harvey Norman Clearance Centre. Eddie Maguire with Rowie and Timmy G right throughout the footy season. It's a great listen. Make sure you tune in to the boys a little bit later tonight.
And speaking about report cards with distinctions, here's Ginnivan.
Tim Ginnivan on 5AA Breakfast.
Timmy G!
Timmy, you might want to ask him about Collingwood ferreting their way into the opening round, which was originally a showcase for the northern states. Mind you, now the Crows want in as well. Good morning.
It's a sham. Let's just put it down to that. I think, look, there were some great games in the opening round, but I think we've all now seen that it's a mockery. It's leaked into Melbourne, and it's just a sham because, look, what was trying to put a focus on the north and the like has just failed. One, you are battling the elements because last year we had to move the Essendon and Gold Coast game, but this year to have St Kilda Collingwood in Melbourne is just a sham. And look, St Kilda probably the benefit of that. They got their biggest ever home crowd and the like. But yeah, look, I think and we spoke to Scott Burns during the week and he just said, I think we can all be a part of opening round now, can't we?
Why don't we just call it round one?
Yeah.
Because that worked for many decades, didn't it, Tim?
We could always have round -1 that we could showcase the northern states, maybe, now that everyone plays round zero.
All the numerologists out there and mathematicians, this would be a nightmare. Round 0, what does that do to the data? I mean, that's just insane, isn't it? It's just a farce, I think, now. But look, for me, I thought Eddie last week, you just mentioned him, came up with a good point and a reasonable concept. But, you could give the North, and being Queensland, New South Wales, you could give them the big blockbuster nights. Give them Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday twilight, Saturday night. And that would still drag whoever the opposition are up there. And then I loved his idea about the all WAV-SA weekend. But I'd actually just change a little bit. I'd say play one weekend where Crows and Port go to Perth. And then I'd love to see a jumbo jet full of Crows and Port supporters sitting together going over to play the West. and then we come back the other way and play them in Adelaide the following year.
Jetstar to Denpasar feel to it, I reckon.
I've been on that 2:30 a.m. flight back in.
But you'd need to have the hostie serving Chardonnay on one side of the plane, though, Tim, and West End Draft on the other, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about that. And look, we could have a taste of each and see if we could, get along. It'd be lovely.
Bring the world together.
Do you like the Port gather round jumper, Tim? Stupid question.
Yeah, look, teal's a tertiary colour for a reason. You use it as a not even more than a third in any sort of setup. Okay, so it's
Not a
for
fan.
me teal. No, never have been. I remember us wearing all teal socks in '98, and I nearly vomited. So look. I understand why, because it's a great marketing thing. We all know that it's the EPL model. You bring out as many versions as you can and sell what you can. But it's definitely, research I know says that the female supporter loves the teal. So I think that there's a strong leaning towards that for sales and the like, which is understandable. No dramas, and I get it. I get the concept. But would I want to wear it? No, sirree. No, I do not like it at all. Hey, your boys have got a dilemma, I reckon. They've got all the injured blokes apparently are going to be available, but I think the dilemma is, how many of them do you play?
Bit underdone, you think?
Yeah, maybe. Hey, good luck to the 36ers tonight. Their first final against Southeast Melbourne in the best of three, so go well. And the Adelaide Cup, I thought, was a thrilling finish, although Tim and Tez's tip got beat by a half a nose. But the funny thing was when the jockey who did win it, he was going around to do his lap and he came off the horse and classically got up and the ambo said, "You're right." And he said, "Who won?"
It's great vision. It's brilliant. I didn't realise you just got beaten by a nose, Tim. That's not too bad a tip. At least people got to ride it all the way to the finish line. Good on you, Timmy.
Yeah, hooroo.
Yeah, didn't win anything, obviously. Cold comfort.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny and 31 today with the 7:30 news. Good morning, I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Had a collision? Get in touch with FIVEAA Panel Services and have your car returned to its former beauty.
Australia is joining the war in the Middle East. The Prime Minister confirming Australia will provide military aircraft to combat rocket and drone attacks from Iran. It follows a request from the United Arab Emirates. The region intercepting missiles from Iran. Thousands of people try to leave and fly back home. Anthony Albanese says our assistance is vital.
Australia will deploy an E-7A Wedgetail to the Gulf to help protect and defend Australians and other civilians. The Wedgetail will provide long-range reconnaissance capability, which will help to protect and secure the airspace above the Gulf.
5 Iranian female soccer players will be able to stay in Australia after they were granted humanitarian visas. The women in Queensland as part of the ASEAN Cup as war broke out in Iran. The federal government saying the rest of the squad is welcome to stay as well, but are worried their families will be targeted by the regime back home. Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke says the women have cleared security hurdles.
I came up personally. I met with the women. They said they wanted to stay in Australia, and Australia, we're a good country, and we've responded to the request by saying, you're safe here, you're welcome here, you're at home here.
G7 finance ministers, meantime, say they're ready to take measures to support the global energy supply after meeting to discuss the economic turmoil caused by the US-Israeli war with Iran. Concerns about the impact on the global economy, of course, chaos on the stock markets. In Adelaide, the price of petrol jumping 45 cents in 9 days. BBC reporter Simon Jack with more.
Oil prices saw their biggest one-day rise in 6 years as markets reassessed the severity and potential duration of interruptions to energy supplies from the Gulf. The price of a barrel of oil smashed through $100 at one point to nearly $120, the highest level seen since 2022. Reports that G7 countries were considering releasing hundreds of millions of barrels of oil from emergency reserves helped push prices down later in the day to just under $100, despite no decision being taken. But prices are still nearly 50% higher than before the US and Israeli attack on Iran and retaliatory strikes on the oil and gas infrastructure of other Gulf states.
Meantime, people up north have been buying up more than petrol. Supermarkets in the Northern Territory stripped bare as residents stock up on essentials amid the flood emergency in Katherine. Shops in Darwin have also been emptied out. A man's been arrested after being caught drink driving at Panorama. Senior Constable Matt Brown says police were driving down Goodwood Road at 2 a.m. and they saw the Toyota ute quickly turn into a back street when the driver spotted them.
Police followed the Toyota and stopped the driver, and he underwent a breath
test and returned a positive reading of 0.179. But the driver was arrested for hindering police, failing to answer questions, and drive with excess blood alcohol. So he's been refused bail, issued with a 12-month immediate loss of licence notice, and his car was impounded for 28 days.
A 19-year-old drunk driver also lost his licence after crashing his car at Dry Creek. He hit a guardrail on the Port River Expressway, losing a wheel just after 10 last night. He's been reported for drink driving, aggravated driving without due care, and breaching his P-plate licence conditions. A global study finding recreational drugs, cannabis, cocaine and amphetamines significantly increase the risk of stroke, especially amongst younger users. The Uni of Cambridge study finding cocaine and amphetamines double the risk of stroke. Turning to 5AA Sport.
Get to Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes for the Outlander ES. Drive away from just $39,990.
And with sport, Tom Wren.
Thank you, Matty. Thank you, Matty. Port Adelaide has revealed its playing strip for Gather Round. The players will wear a bright, predominantly teal Guernsey when they take on St Kilda in round 5. Meantime, Brisbane is off to the tribunal tonight to fight suspensions handed down to Harris Andrews and Darcy Gardner. All mixed results for Australia's players at Indian Wells in California. Talia Gibson recorded a brilliant 3-set win against the 17th seed Clara Towson, but Isla Tomljanovic lost a tight 3-setter against 7th seed Jasmine Paolini, while Alex de Minaur also went down in straight sets to Cam Norrie. For 21-year-old Gibson, though, it's a huge result after she also beat Ekaterina Alexandrova in the previous round.
I feel like I've been pretty close in the rankings for quite a while now, so I was really hoping that I was going to be able to do it this year, and I think it was so unexpected, and yeah, I'm just filled with so much joy.
Let's go to soccer, and West Ham's on the verge of moving into the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. The Hammers lead 2-1 with about 15 minutes to play against Brentford. Jared Bowen has scored both goals for the Hammers, the second a penalty close to half-time.
Bowen scores a second. West Ham nudge themselves back in front once more, and this is turning into quite the cup tie.
Audio thanks to Stan, and players will have another look at the Kooyonga Golf Course today. That's ahead of the Women's Australian Open, which begins on Thursday. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thank you, Tom. Now 5AA's traffic.
Cluedo the Play at Her Majesty's Theatre from 21 March. 2 weeks only. Don't miss out. Book now.
Morning there. Quite a few collisions to look out for this morning. Got one at Croydon causing really big delays inbound. It's on the north-south motorway near Torrens Road. Another crash. This one's at Flagstaff Hill involving a motorcycle. Flagstaff Hill Road near Bonnyview Road, and a smash at Penfield Womma Road near Andrews Road. Camera, Gorge Road, Athelston. Adelaide Central Market is celebrating Sauce Day this Friday and Saturday. Delicious food, trader specials, live music, free cooking demos and a celebration of Italian culture. Only at the markets. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Stuck in traffic? Road trip differently in the Northern Territory. northernterritory.com/drive.
Sunny today and 31. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 26. Cloudy for Thursday and Friday, 23. Right now it's 14. 5AA. Always Adelaide.
At Nurse Next Door, we believe in making lives better, helping you stay independent at home with the right support in place. As a government-registered support-at-home provider, we'll guide you through your options and help you get the most from your aged care funding. With no lock-in contracts and care overseen by a registered nurse, we'll tailor a plan to suit your needs. To find out more, visit nursenextdoor.com.au.
When you need capability, solutions and expertise for major projects, that's a Kennards Hire job.
Hi, Kennards Hire.
For 24/7 customer support, talk to our experts today.
Kennards make your job easy.
Now, if you've had solar on your roof for 10 years, no doubt you've noticed those big feed-in tariffs have pretty much disappeared.
NRG Solar tells us that back in the day, you might have been getting 40 or even 50 cents per kilowatt hour for power that you sent back to the grid. Well, these days, you get next to nothing for feeding the grid.
That's why NRG Solar will tell you the best way forward is to combine your existing or new solar system with home battery storage.
Storing the excess energy your solar makes during the day in the battery so you can use that power at night is an absolute game changer.
With power prices going up and solar and battery technology improving, upgrading an older system makes a lot of sense.
NRG Solar helps homeowners upgrade smarter with solar and battery solutions designed to target zero power bills. Visit nrgsolar.com.au.
Some swear jars collect coins, but at Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, their swear jar collects promises.
Hi, I'm Renette, a designer. I swear to listen to your ideas and help create a functional space for you.
Hi, I'm Rick the plumber. I swear to always be on time and clean up after myself.
I'm Laura. I swear to help bring your thoughts and design ideas to life, just how you envisioned them, or better.
For a team that swears to deliver on quality and service, see Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts.
Hi, Brett Ebert here for Mawson Lakes Mazda. There's a lot to like about Mawson Lakes Mazda. They'll take care of you with next day servicing, complimentary loan car, vacuum and wash. And your breakfast or lunch is on them. Your car gets the love too with their state-of-the-art service centre, brimming with top-trained mechanics. At Mawson Lakes Mazda, they'll look after your car and look after you. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
For those whose pool is the main feature of their yard, Walco offer a special mesh cover to keep debris and leaves out while making your pool area look stunning all through winter. Join the great cover-up and ask Walco about their stylish new mesh pool covers. Walco.com.au.
When you're gone, who gets the things you've worked hard all your life for? Like the family farm, the holiday home, or your cherished trailer sailor. If you don't plan now, it could be messy when you're gone. Donlan Lawyers specialise in wills and estate planning. From the simplest to the most complex, Donlan Lawyers will give effect to your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com. Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
At Specsavers Audiology, we've screened over 8 million ears, and we'll keep screening. Because when it comes to hearing care, we're a little bit obsessed. Book a free 15-minute hearing check with a Specsavers hearing expert today. If further testing is required, a fee may apply.
For 20 years, FIVEAA Milk Company has been in your fridge, in your smoothies, kids' cereal, or morning coffee. Through the good years and the tough ones, dairy farming hasn't been easy. But because you choose to back a bunch of passionate SA dairy farmers and continue to do so, we're still here. That's 20 years local families providing local jobs for our great state. Look for FIVEAA Milk Company products at your supermarket. And let's keep a good thing going.
The state election is on March 21. Early voting period is from March 14 until 6 p.m. March 20. Voting, it's a good thing.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
19 minutes to 8. We'll be checking with Jono Edwards shortly for 7 News and 5AA with regard to what he's been able to glean this morning about petrol stations that are either rationing or without petrol. The good news, if you're just waking up, is that overnight the oil barrel price has moderated significantly. Right now it is it's come off its highs. It's under $90 a barrel, which is hopefully something that will feed through to the pumps that jumped over the weekend. The other thing that's happened whilst we've been speaking and whilst we're at 5AA News is the Prime Minister's press conference continued. Now, as we discussed before the news, 2 developments came out of what the Prime Minister had to say. Australia sending air-to-air missiles to the UAE at their request. They've asked us because obviously they're in short supply currently defending territory from drones and ballistic missile attack. The other thing that's happening is an RAAF aircraft with 85 people is being deployed. It's one of the E7 Wedgetail craft. It's a airborne surveillance unit. Effectively, you might recognise it. It almost looks like a 747, but on the top it's got a sort of radar array, or it looks like it's got some sort of antenna on top. And 85 people are involved in the operation of it. It'll be used to detect all sorts of things in the air. It can detect on the ground. It'll help the UAE defend the airspace, and in the Prime Minister's words, help defend Australians in the area too. Well, a couple of other things have come up in that press conference. Have a listen to the Prime Minister on the asylum being granted to the Iranian women's soccer team.
President Trump rang me this morning just before 2 a.m. We had a very positive discussion. He was concerned about the Iranian women in the soccer team. I was able to convey to him the action that we'd undertaken over the previous 48 hours, and that 5 of the team had asked for assistance and had received it. Assistance remains available for the other members of the team, but it of course is a decision for them. If they make a decision to ask for support, they will receive it.
So there's a Prime Minister a short time ago about their bid for asylum. So 5 have taken up the offer, but it is extended to everyone on the team. The other thing that Chris Bowen was at the press conference. He was asked about something we were chatting with Rex Patrick about before 7:30, and that is about Australia's fuel supplies. Here's Chris Bowen on our current fuel reserve.
I can say that our diesel and petrol supplies remain at this point secure. We have as much diesel in Australia today as we had before this crisis began, and the stock obligation, which the companies are legally required to meet, remains at 32 days. And we are seeing a big increase in demand, particularly for diesel, and I understand why Australians are concerned. But my key message is that every single expected arrival of diesel supply in recent days and expected in coming days and weeks has arrived on schedule as expected. So there is no need for panic buying.
Well, if that's the case, there's a breakdown in the distribution of the fuel then, because what we do know as a fact is Meadows ran out of diesel. We know Karoonda's run out of petrol. There may well be the same amount, but it's not getting to the places it typically has, and our regions are exposed at the moment. Here is Chris Bowen. He went on to talk a little bit more about limits on fuel if there continues to be, or if there is an issue with the supply into Australia.
If the issue in the Middle East continues, of course, we'll continue to monitor the situation carefully. We have powers under the minimum stock obligation, which I won't hesitate to use if necessary, if it helps the situation. And there are a range of other acts which are there in case of an emergency. We are not there yet.
So that's Chris Bowen saying we've got enough. We've got enough backup. We've got enough in the country.
We've got enough. We've got enough in the nation. We appear to have enough in the metropolitan area. Does he know where Karoonda is?
Sounds like it will.
Like when people they're saying they're not doing sport, that they don't have to get their kids to school.
Yeah.
Like what a city-centric view of the world that bloke's got.
Well, let's get a bit of a sense about how that's playing out in reality. That's Chris Bowen's overview. Well, Jono Edwards is out on the road this morning tracking down the places where there is no diesel or unleaded. Jono, what have you been able to work out?
Gentlemen, good morning to you. It's very much petrol stations of fear this morning. Costco have huge lines. Now, I know originally there was some concerns thinking that they had run out, but that is certainly not the case, and the lines are huge. People are continuing to file in and pick up petrol, including some in jerry cans, stockpiling, which we know is not a great thing. But I've been around the grounds, and late last night, FIVEAA, a number of major service stations ran out of fuel, the OTR. So we're talking big name brands. They were completely out. Since this morning, they've received deliveries, so they're all back on track. But again, it does seem like it's those rural communities which are really struggling to get deliveries. Now, Silvers in the city, a smaller brand, they've run out this morning. They're expecting a delivery shortly. But I've gone around the grounds and spoken to a number of key stakeholders. Brad Perry from the grain producers, who would all know, he's told me that farmers are being refused deliveries of diesel, which, as you can imagine, they need. Rationing is occurring for private deliveries. Steve Shearer from the Road Transport Association, he's furious because there's been a lot of pressure being put on drivers to continue with this expectation of deliveries at the same price, even though the cost of their diesel was going up. So it seems that, although we heard from Chris Bowen, he's seeing one side of it. A lot of industries and a lot of mums and dads out there, particularly in rural South Australia, are really feeling the pinch at the moment and really have great concerns.
Yeah, right, and understandably so. Good on you, Jono. Jono Edwards there for 7 years, Adelaide at Costco.
Now, Phil Curry's just walked out of the press conference with the Prime Minister, the Foreign Minister, the Energy Minister and the Defence Minister. It must have just ended, so we've just got Phil on the line. Phil, good morning.
Good morning, fellas.
Bit going on, Phil. We'll start with the soccer players. So,
sure.
It sounded for all the world like, this time 24 hours ago that Australia wasn't going to take them.
No, not at all, actually, Dave. Trump went and shot his mouth off without checking. This has been in train for the last couple of days. Working, with these things, if you publicise what you're doing, you jeopardise it. So the government have been working, for the last few days for these 5 women who wanted to, flee, to help them flee the federal police. The Home Affairs Minister had been working behind the scenes. Then late last night, you'd actually sort of think Donald Trump would have more on his plate to worry about than 5 soccer players in Australia, given what he's plunged the world into. But he jumps on, rather than ringing Albanese, he just jumps on Truth Social and gives him a mouthful, and then they have a phone call and Albanese explains to him, mate, it's all in hand, it's okay. And then
so
Trump,
is that why the public, it sounded publicly like they were not going to get any preferential treatment, but was the government deliberately saying that because they were actually working on it? But if they'd revealed that they were, the girls would have been in massive strife.
Yeah, who knows? They could have. These things are delicate, and if the Iranians got wind that there was some plan afoot, who knows? They could have, abducted them or God knows what. The sort of goon squad that's sort of surrounding them. So you don't sort of talk about these things until they're done, and that's what I mean. So it was the Prime Minister just explained all that at his press conference. That Tony Burke was up there yesterday in Brisbane, sort of getting the visas ready for them, the protection visas they handed them, and the federal police have been on it for a few days. It wasn't like, they got a call from Donald Trump and decided to act. It was quite the opposite. And, again, it just shows you, Donald Trump. Yeah.
Phil, yesterday markets were well and truly spooked after Iran announced that there would be a new supreme leader, and it felt like the war was going to go on for some time. We saw the Australian Stock Exchange was nearly off 4% at one point in time. We had the oil barrel price up around $120 a barrel. Asian markets were getting killed everywhere. That's moderated overnight with some of the US president's comments about how close he thinks the war is to concluding. Did you get a sense that our leaders in Canberra there were spooked by what was happening and the potential economic fallout here in Australia? I mean, the NAB said 5% inflation might be something that we're talking about.
Oh, 100%. I mean, no one wants this, right? No one wants this. And, it was starting to feel a bit like COVID yesterday.
I think that's a great comparison.
Everyone started to get triggered again. And, certainly the stock market hadn't crashed like that since Trump did his Liberation Day tariff thing a year ago, and we all watched our super go down the tube again yesterday. There's no good is coming out of this other than, maybe getting rid of that regime in Iran, but there are ways to do things and there are ways to do things, and it's clearly Trump only responds to two things: opinion polls and the stock market, right? And both are going south on him. So you can see he's completely changed his language again overnight in the US, saying, "Oh, we're very near the end of this war." Less than a week ago, he said it was going to go for 4 weeks, and wars are easier to start than stop. It's a true adage, and he suddenly realised maybe what he's unleashed, and it's getting beyond his control. He's got midterm elections coming up later this year, and so suddenly he changes his whole language and says, mission accomplished, more or less. And so you can see the markets overnight started to bounce back, and the ASX is expected to open up a couple of points this morning, go up as well. So it's all about confidence. We're talking about petrol. I was just listening to your reporter there about people hoarding petrol. There's no need to do it. The minister just came and said there's as much diesel and petrol in Australia this week as there was last week. The supplies are still coming in. We had a meeting overnight of G7 energy ministers who decided there's no need yet to invoke, the release of some emergency stockpiles. Bowen said we're not at that stage yet here in Australia. And I suspect, when Trump spoke to Albanese at 2:00 in the morning last night, he gave him a similar message about his preparedness to bring this thing to an end. So you sort of hope, the Straits of Hormuz will open at some stage, and everyone can calm down. But it is what it is. I mean, the main reason the Prime Minister stood up this morning was to announce that we're sending some military assets to Dubai, which is a bit weird given how much money Dubai's got. You'd sort of think they'd better look after themselves, but we're sending a wedge-tail plane. That's one of those planes that can fly around for hours on end with a big radar on the roof, essentially, and help with the interception of missiles coming from Iran. And then we're also sending some missile batteries to Dubai to help them shoot down missiles. So that's our sort of, not token effort, but our small contribution to the defence of the Emirates, because there's, as the PM said, there's 24,000 expats there probably hiding under the kitchen sink at the moment. So
yeah, absolutely.
Doing our bit to help, yeah.
Good stuff, Phil. Phil Curry, the National Political Editor for the Australian Financial Review.
Thanks stepping out of that press conference as the moments after it concluded with the Prime Minister and some of the top-ranking members of his cabinet. Let's check traffic. If your car battery's dead, call Batteries Direct and they'll come to you anytime with a new affordable battery installed.
Crash at Bedford Park causing quite big headaches this morning. It's on the Southern Expressway near Ailofs Road. Off-ramp, smash at Croydon. This one's on the north-south motorway to Torrens Road. Very big delays in through there. And Flagstaff Hill, Carvey motorcycle crash, Flagstaff Hill Road near Bonneview Road. Canberra this morning, Briar Road, Felixstowe too. Carpet Court's big brand sale is on now. Save on carpet, hard flooring, window furnishings and rugs. Plus earn double Qantas points on now at Carpet Court. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
South Australia is a great state, but it can be better.
Owning and running a home is harder than ever. We'll make housing more affordable by scrapping stamp duty on established homes for first home buyers and discounting it for downsizers. We'll build more homes by cutting taxes on tradies and by investing in new rapid build techniques. We will subsidise batteries and give a cash incentive to get solar on rentals, and we'll cap council rate increases.
That's how we'll get the important things right.
Authorised by AHIDE Liberal Party only.
If you're after legendary reliability and safety,
Get a Toyota forklift.
yep, Toyota is still the world's #1 forklift brand, famous across just about every industry for their reliability and safety. That's the Toyota Forklift Advantage. And with great electric options and branches all over the country, find the right Toyota forklift for you at toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Don't just get a forklift. Get a Toyota forklift.
Need to rent a car, truck, van or ute? Maybe you're moving, you're off on holidays or planning some work around the house. Whatever the reason, you can rely on Red Spot car rentals to get you there.
Red Spot has the perfect ride, whatever you want to do. They've got a huge fleet of new vehicles, from small cars to trucks and utes. You'll find them in airport terminals and cities all over Australia. And right now, they're giving you a spot-on special of 15% off every vehicle at every location. T's and C's apply.
So the next time you need a rental, you can rely on Red Spot. Book direct and save 15% now at redspot.com.au/radio or call 1300 66 88 10 and quote radio.
A smashed or damaged windscreen can happen in a heartbeat, but it does get worse if you don't go to your local Complete Windscreens to get it fixed. You could be waiting weeks, and look, that's not on. Complete Windscreens has windscreens and glass for all makes and models in stock right now, with 15 technicians standing by to get you back on the road. You don't need to wait. Tell your insurance company you want Complete Windscreens on the job. CompleteWindscreens.com.au. Look for the big red koala.
Time to Pixter. Around 70% of serious dental problems start in the gaps between teeth. Pixters clean those gaps like floss, only easier. Keep by your toothbrush and use daily. Have you Pixtered today?
With Big Difference Home Improvements, you can make a big difference to your next family gathering, your next Christmas lunch, or your next quiet time. Just you, a nice book, favourite bevy, and a place to relax. Big Difference Home Improvements make all the difference when it comes to outdoor blinds and roller shutters, verandas, pergolas, carports, or a stunning timber deck. Ask the Big D team for a free measure and quote today. Don't just make a difference, make a big difference. Visit bigdifference.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. The state election is on March 21. Early voting period is from March 14 until 6 p.m. March 20. Voting, it's a good thing.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
In the criminal justice system, all defendants are innocent until proven guilty, either by confession, plea bargain, or trial by jury. This is one of those trials.
Well, the front page of the Advertiser this morning asks the question, can you teal it? The new port jumper, which is, I don't know, if you had to put a percentage on it, what would you say? 85% teal?
Yeah, at least
90%
85.
teal? Is there any white on it?
Maybe more.
It's a little bit black.
No white.
Timmy G doesn't like it. That was as close as Timmy G losing it this morning, just before 7:30 this morning. He said he's not a fan. He remembers in 98 the first time they ran out with teal socks and he almost vomited. I would suspect he actually did vomit. 8223 do you like the teal port jumper or not, folks? Give us a buzz. You could win $100 worth of Samtas seafood. If you participate in the jury, someone randomly will do so. So open to port fans and non-port fans, I guess. You might be a footy fan that has a view on whether it's a good or bad jumper.
You might be a small-minded Crows supporter who likes saying rude things about the Port Adelaide Football Club.
It might be like a sort of a psychological... You might be a Crows fan that likes the opportunity to say it's a great jumper knowing your Port fans or friends hate it.
Yeah, to upset the Port people.
Exactly. 8223 0000. We particularly want to hear from Port fans. Do you like or hate the new predominantly teal Port jumper that they'll be wearing during gather round? 8223 0000. $100 worth of Samtas seafood could well be coming your way. Let's go to juror number one. Juror number one, what do you think of the teal jumper?
I hate it. I think I'll lose my lunch over it.
Port fan?
No.
Just don't like teal.
I just don't like teal.
Okay, fair enough.
It's very bright. I think they've upped the intensity of the teal by about 100%, I reckon.
Yeah.
It looks like high-vis clothing.
Juror number two, good morning.
Yeah, it's wore thin. I think they liked it in the first place, but it's the novelty's worn off with the teal.
That's another no vote for the teal. Does anyone like it? 8223 0000. The texts don't seem to like it. $100 worth of Samtas seafood. If we get one more that says they don't like it, I think we're just going to call it a clean sweep. 8223 0000. $100 worth of Samtas seafood, which, as we know, goes a hell of a long way. Juror number three, do you like it or hate it? You there, juror number three? Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
What are we supposed to like?
The teal jumper.
The teal jumper?
The Port Adelaide teal jumper. Do you like it or do you dislike it?
I don't dislike it. And why should you hate something that someone wears?
That's a good
you'd
question.
be out of luck all day.
Juror number three, it's not sort of philosophical reflection on the jury. You just want to know whether people like a jumper or not. Juror number four, you like it or hate it?
Well, I wouldn't say I hate it, but it's not my favourite one. I do prefer when we wear the silver as the alternative, not the that much teal. It's a little bit bright for my liking.
Okay, it's not a lot of love coming through for it. No. Even the Port Adelaide diehards, who we know, sort of indifferent to it.
Do we have to pick a winner?
Yeah.
I like the obtuse stylings of juror number three. It's like having Bertrand Russell on the line.
What, juror number three?
Yeah.
What? You didn't love it or hate it. We'd rather question why we should.
Well, why not?
Put hate on a jumper.
Let's share the love and the fish around.
We're giving the jury prize to the person who didn't think we should be doing it as a jury question. Why not? $100 worth of Samtas seafood.
Informing Adelaide for 50 years. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny and 31 for Adelaide today with the 8 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Need a crash repairer you can trust? FIVEAA Panel Services delivers expert care to you and your vehicle.
Australia is deploying aircraft to the Gulf in a bid to help combat ongoing rocket and drone attacks from Iran. The federal government will send medium-range air-to-air missiles as well to the United Arab Emirates, along with an E-7A Wedgetail for about a month. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says the plane will secure airspace over the region by monitoring incoming threats from Iran.
To help protect and defend Australians and other civilians. The Wedgetail will provide long-range reconnaissance capability, which will help to protect and secure the airspace above the Gulf.
5 Iranian female soccer players will be able to stay in Australia after being granted humanitarian visas. The women in Queensland as part of the Asian Cup. The federal government says the rest of the squad is welcome to stay. They're worried, though, their families will be targeted by the Iranian regime. Associate Professor Maria O'Sullivan at the Castan Centre for Human Rights Law at Monash Uni says the players have had to make a terrible choice.
Evidence from Amnesty International when these sort of things happen is that, there are repercussions, so that will have to be handled. So, ideally, I would say under international law, those players' families, like many people at the moment in Iran, have a valid claim to asylum.
Regional petrol stations are running out of fuel with a strong demand, particularly for diesel. That's occurred despite petrol prices spiking 45 cents in Adelaide over the last week. Energy Minister Chris Bowen says there's no need for panic buying.
Our diesel and petrol supplies remain at this point secure. We have as much diesel in Australia today as we had before this crisis began, and the stock obligation, which the companies are legally required to meet, remains at 32 days.
Police have caught 2 drunk drivers overnight. Senior Constable Matt Brown says a 19-year-old man blew over the limit after crashing his car at Dry Creek last night.
Police and emergency services were called to the Port River Expressway after a Hyundai sedan had collided with the guardrail, losing its back left wheel before turning west onto the Salisbury Highway. The car then headed south on Hanson Road before being located by police on Wilkins Road at Wingfield.
The teenager's been reported for drink driving, aggravated driving without due care and breaching his provisional licence conditions, while a man's been arrested after he blew over the limit at Panorama, also charged with hindering police and failing to answer questions. He'll face court today. Soaring property and share prices along with the tax system have given baby boomers a 9-fold wealth increase across a 23-year study period. Boomers are Australia's wealthiest generation, holding about a third of the national wealth. Generation X has 21.2% share. Turning to 5AA Sport.
Get to Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes for the Outlander ES. Drive away from just $39,990.
I never thought I'd be happy about being a boomer, Tom Wren, but here we are.
Good place to be, Matty. Let's start with a little bit of footy. There's doubts surrounding the fitness of Adelaide key forward Riley Thilthorpe ahead of Saturday night's clash against Collingwood at the MCG. Thilthorpe missed the Crows' final pre-season clash with a back injury. Well, Brisbane heads to the AFL Tribunal tonight, appealing a 3-game ban handed to Harris Andrews and a 1-match suspension for Darcy Gardner. Meantime, rule changes in play for the first time during opening round have been given the tick of approval by former umpire Dean Margetts. Centre ball-ups, holding the ball and the stand rule have been altered during the off-season. Margetts says tightening of the stand rule is one of the umpires and one rule that needs to be they need to be mindful of.
I think we need to just get that balance between allowing players to either clear the area and just don't call stand immediately, because as Brad would rightly understand, the game's played really quickly and it's an impulse game. I think we've got to support them a bit. But overall, I think it was a pretty good product.
There are reports South Australia is set to fight Victoria for the upcoming T20 World Cup cricket final, putting Adelaide Oval against the MCG as the best venue for the event in 2028. Melbourne has hosted every Cricket World Cup final since 1992. Well, the Matildas' Asian Cup quarter-final opponent has been confirmed. Australia will face North Korea at Perth's Rectangular Stadium on Friday. And the Adelaide 36ers will host the South East Melbourne Phoenix in Game 1 of their best-of-3 semi-final series tonight. The Sixers looking to break their title drought, which dates back to 2002. And Matty, that is the 5AA Sport.
Thank you, Tom. Let's check the roads around Adelaide this morning.
Cluedo the Play at Her Majesty's Theatre from 21 March. 2 weeks only. Don't miss out. Book now.
Morning there. Got delays with a crash at Bedford Park Southern Expressway near the Ailofs Road off-ramp. Another collision at Croydon to look out for. This one's on the north-south motorway near Torrens Road. Really big delays there. And a motorcycle crash to keep an eye on this morning at Flagstaff Hill Road near Bonneview Road. Getting busy at the moment, the freeway coming in through Crafers and around Stirling, angle to camera McGill Road, McGill. Every minute of every day, a child is admitted to hospital. Help make it a happier place with a $30 donation to the Starlight Foundation every month. Donate today at starlight.org.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Stuck in traffic? Road trip differently in the Northern Territory. northernterritory.com/drive.
Sunny for Adelaide today and 31, partly cloudy tomorrow 26, cloudy on Thursday and Friday 23. Right now 14, 5AA, always Adelaide.
Paint Supplies. Good day, Gary Johansson here from Paint Supplies. Westlakes Boulevard, Hendon. You know the name, the one you can trust to look after you for all your painting needs. We've been looking after the community since 1990. Whether you're painting a church, a house, a school, hotel, car, boat, plane, machinery, whatever it is, come and see me, Gary Johansson from Paint Supplies, a name you can trust. Westlakes Boulevard, Hendon. Paint Supplies.
Imagine attending every concert and major sporting event at Adelaide Oval for an entire year. Buy a ticket in the Jodie Lee Foundation and Adelaide Oval MTX Club Mega Pass lottery and you could win a double pass to every event at Adelaide Oval, plus a $1,000 MTX Club food and beverage voucher. The total prize value is $12,500 with just 6,250 tickets available. Tickets are just $10. Entries close midnight March 12. Visit jodieleefoundation.org.au for tickets and T's and C's. SA Lottery Licence Number M14933.
Sauce Day is back at the Adelaide Central Market Friday 13th and Saturday 14th March. 2 huge days celebrating Italian food, culture and community right in the heart of Adelaide.
You'll see sauce making in action. There'll be market specials from your favourite traders, free cooking demos, live music and raving entertainment throughout the market.
And if you've got the kids with you, well, they're going to love it. There's free face painting and a craft workshop so they can get involved while you enjoy the flavours, the atmosphere and all the incredible produce that only the Adelaide Central Market can offer.
So roll up your sleeves, bring your friends and family to celebrate Sauce Day, only at the Adelaide Central Market. Visit adelaidecentralmarket.com.au for the full program.
Lift your game with United.
Next time you need access equipment or forklifts, lift your game with United's range of hire equipment. Hire from as short as a day to as long as a year, with great rates and flexible hire options to suit your business. Scissor lifts, boom lifts, telehandlers and forklifts, all available to hire right now. Lift your game with Australian-owned United. Google United Equipment today.
Lift your game with United.
Hi, it's Eddie May here from NRG Solar. When it comes to power bills, NRG Solar understands that South Australian businesses are feeling the pinch too. The Cheaper Home Battery program isn't just for homeowners. Eligible businesses can access those savings as well. NRG Solar takes a consultative approach with commercial customers, starting with how your business uses power, then designing a solar and battery solution that makes financial sense. Talk to NRG Solar and see what a solar and battery solution can do for your business. Visit nrgsolar.com.au.
Families are under pressure like never before.
It's because the major parties have created this mess.
But you can send them a message.
Vote one Family First on the green and white ballot paper.
Together we can take the pressure off families.
Authorised by Lyle Shelton Family First Party, Norwood.
Hi, Daniel Talley here, General Manager of Home. That's HAUME. Sometimes renovating an older home built before the 90s is just not worth the hassle, time or the cost. Instead, we buy your home as it is and give you as much time as you need to find your new dream home. We don't charge fees, there's no advertising costs or commissions. We just make the process of selling your home easy. Look out for a letter from us in your mailbox or visit home.com.au. That's HAUME.com.au.
Every bathroom comes with a dark side. Mould. It sneaks into grout. But what if it had nothing to sneak into? What if you chose Mr. Wet Wall instead of tiles for your bathroom and wet areas? It costs less and there's no scrubbing grout. Because with Mr. Wet Wall, there is no grout. Just a smooth, stylish surface, easy to clean and stunning to look at. So why wouldn't you, Mr. Wet Wall? MrWetWall.com.
Stay informed, get involved. 5AA, always Adelaide.
The state election is on March 21. Early voting period is from March 14 until 6 p.m. March 20. Voting, it's a good thing.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
11 minutes after 8, break at 8 coming up in just a moment. Our nearest to the pin is settled in terms of what the West Terrace BP unleaded 91 oil price, petrol price would be this morning. We played it on Friday. I tell you what,
I like our capacity for turning catastrophic global events into listeners' competitions. And that's a good thing.
Yeah, we might have something to cheer for.
That's
Petrol's
right.
going to go up.
Make light of a global crisis. What can you make light of?
Well, at least it means there's one winner at very
That's right.
least. We'll find out who very shortly. Then after 8:30 today, no winners in what is one of the worst campaign stuff-ups in quite some time. The South Australian Labor Party releasing an email extolling the excellent care of the South Australian health system, except it was the wrong person, seeking to discredit the widow of someone who died while ramped. It's an extraordinary story.
What's extraordinary is that we actually pay through our taxes for somebody to do this for a living. Like, we've got a $50 billion debt on the horizon in this state. Why are we paying people whose job it clearly is, as we now know from this story, to go rifling through the government inbox? There's a privacy issue surrounding this. I mean, we all know sometimes you ring a government department to get information about yourself and they tell you to get stuffed. But apparently, apparatchiks working for the government who are in the, let's put it bluntly, arse-covering business, their first reaction when a story breaks about the treatment of a dying man, a man who had stage 4 stomach cancer, and spend his final hours being ramped, and the government's first reaction is to go rifling through the inbox trying to find an email saying, well, this guy sounded like he was quite happy with the service that he got at the RA. Well, it was the wrong person. I mean, the wrong person part of it is bad enough, but the fact that somehow has come to be a job. How is that a job? And why are we paying for it?
Well, when you hire every ex-journo in Adelaide to work for you, they get about sitting tasked with things like this. They're coming up with tax policy.
It is a total disgrace. And it actually needs... People were talking about, should there be an investigation into the incident? I think there should be some sort of honest investigation into the system, because if people's job specs have widened so far to include taxpayer-funded party political backside covering that comes with the added bonus of being completely bloody wrong anyway, then we're all being played for mugs, aren't we?
I'm sure everyone will be excited to know as well that if you ever do happen to email the government at any point in time, that might turn into election material.
Yeah,
at the government's convenience.
It is totally appalling.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that after 8:30. It's time for our Breaking 8.
I'm sorry that our next guest had to come in off the back of some internecine political wrangling locally, because this is a really significant international story, and it goes to something that's hugely important for the future, not just of our state but our nation, and that's the push to get Australian of the Year astronaut Catherine Bennell-Pegg onto the International Space Station. There's an invitation that the Albanese government is considering, and it comes at a cost, to get Catherine Bennell-Pegg to take part in a mission aboard the International Space Station. Now, there's a sense of urgency around this because the space station's not going to be around for much longer. But the important and positive thing is that the campaign is gathering major support. I spoke to Dr. Andy Thomas over the weekend. He's on board. Well, now, how's this? We have on the line the former Deputy Chief of NASA, Pamela Melroy, who is a genuine trailblazer in the field in her own right. She was only the second woman to command a space shuttle mission, and she's also a member of the Astronauts Hall of Fame. Pam, good morning, and thank you so much for coming on. This campaign involving Catherine, a lot of people tend to look at it about what it would mean for her. But can you give us a sense, it's not really about an individual, it's about what it means for the nation, isn't it?
That's right. It's, by the way, it's just a pleasure to be with you guys. All my friends in Adelaide, I want to say hello to. Sorry, you've got one last gasp of summer, it looks like, going on. But this is such an important subject. It is definitely, this isn't a joyride. This is about applied research and science, and it's going to bring Australian research closer to a global network. But in addition to that, what happens, the human spaceflight program for the International Space Station, and what we do is brings people into and countries into communities that actually benefit each one of them. That is the whole idea of the partnership. And in particular, the European Space Agency has a barter policy, which is that however much you throw into a mission, they will send most of it back to the industry. And so this is actually about Australian industry. It's about Australian science, research, but it's also about Australian industry benefiting in the future.
So when you look at it in crude numerical terms, Pam Melroy, a lot of people would balk at the $100 million, an estimated $100 million price tag. But are you saying that in terms of like return on investment, what would come back to Australia, as has happened with a lot of other sort of second-tier nations like Turkey and Poland, Canada, when they've got involved with these space programs, it really pays off long-term or even short-term in terms of the sort of contracts and investment you can generate?
Yeah, absolutely. You should expect that at least $80 million will come back in contracts to Australia through a partnership with the European Space Agency, which would have to be negotiated. I think it's just also really important to understand that these are long-term impacts. This is a growth industry. It's a very high growth, high tech industry. And so the long-term investment of bringing Australia into this enormous global economy is well worth it. But I think it's also important to mention how important the inspirational impact that Catherine will have on the STEM students going into STEM in Australia. That's, I think, essential to the future of Australian industry.
You know Catherine pretty well as well, Pam, and obviously, as I said before, you've got an amazing military background prior to your civic role working as an astronaut at NASA. But she's quite a unique person. I know I said at the start it's not about her, but the fact that the Europeans have picked her shows that they see something in her that makes her the perfect person for this mission, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. They would not be going to these lengths for just anybody. She had top marks in the astronaut training and has gotten the attention of the Director General of ESA, Josef Aschbacher himself. They really understand. Catherine is something special. That's been my job. I was a space shuttle commander. I, evaluate people. How are they going to do in space? What are they going to do? Catherine is very special. Her interpersonal skills, her intellectual skills. She's an incredible athlete, incredibly fit. She is just going to crush all of the things that she has to do to go to space. And Australia should be incredibly proud of her.
Yeah,
she's a top marks on the global stage.
We've had her in the studio with us a couple of times. She's a remarkable and just an incredibly intelligent human being. I just want to ask you about the future of the ISS and opportunities for someone like Catherine Bennell-Pegg to potentially get on board post-2030. So the ISS gets retired, deorbited, and then it appears there's these sort of commercial operations that are being floated. Do you think it'll actually make it harder for an Australian flagged astronaut after the ISS opportunity disappears to get on board and get this kind of experience and get the industry kicked along in the way that you've detailed with us over the course of the last couple of minutes once the ISS is not an option anymore?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think I do. I remember I was there when we started building the space station. It had limited capacity. It started with 3 people and then built up to its current capacity of 6 or 7 people at any given time. It can actually sustain 13 people at once. It's going to take a long time before that happens with commercial space stations. I just think it is an extraordinary opportunity. And with Catherine having recently graduated from astronaut training, she's fully current on the space station. She is prepared. She will only need the very, very minimum basics to be a fully effective crew member. The longer that drags out, and if it's not ISS, then the opportunity will probably pass Australia by. And it just hurts me to think that Australia could wait for their own astronaut to go to space so long when the opportunity for the inspiration and the science is there and industry.
Yeah, well, we certainly hope, Pam, that the opportunity that's before us is recognised when the government makes its decision, which is due by the 18th, which is, tomorrow week. Pamela Melroy, such a great pleasure to talk to you again, and we'll stay in touch on this, and hopefully we get the outcome that the nation deserves. Pamela Melroy, the former Deputy Director of NASA. Thank you.
You bet. Cheers.
Such a good idea. And I think a lot of people go, oh, crikey, we've got a magic money tree. We've got spiralling debt. And I agree with those concerns, and, we often air them on this show. But I just think, Will, that, the return on investment from this, it feels to me that this decision is almost like a little standalone plebiscite on whether we're a smart country or a stupid country. Because so much will flow on from this. And to put it in its context, if we can give $600 million, and I get that there's a soft diplomacy argument to be made here, it's not purely about sport, it's about making sure China doesn't get a foothold in the Pacific. But having said that, if we can spend $600 million on rugby league and rugby union in the Pacific, can we spend $100 million on an industry that is the future of the country, but particularly our state in the context of AUKUS?
Well, I think whenever we have these debates, I think back to the flashpoint of government assistance for industries, which is the car industry here in South Australia. And I think some of the argument at the time that the government walked away from that was that, well, we can't keep funding industries where we're not going to be competitive. We're going to lose to Thailand, we're going to lose to China, we're going to lose to these emerging markets. We can't compete. So the argument then goes, well, let's funnel that money into something where they can't compete. That's nuclear submarines. That's a space program.
Yeah, satellite launches from Air Peninsula.
This is the kind of smart nation, high-end technology stuff. You got to find where your competitive advantage is. This is where ours is, but it's going to cost some money. Like that would have cost money, by the way, if we sustained it.
Malik keeps talking about we've got this skills shortage. He did the big statement the other day at FIVEAA about the types of jobs that we're going to need to prop up AUKUS. A lot of them are STEM jobs.
Completely.
So this is like the world's best free marketing campaign for studying STEM. There's no downside to any of this.
Yeah. We could be home to one of the smartest economies on planet Earth here in South Australia between those two industries, nuclear submarines and space. Their homes are both here in SA.
The other thing too, why should it all be on the taxpayer? Like, you think about how many companies will benefit from this, banks with AI and farmers, West Farmers and Elders, because
Completely.
all of these satellites help, climate mapping, and, geez, we could do with a bit of AM with that at the moment, couldn't we? What about the media? Media companies, telcos.
Yeah, completely.
We all benefit from having satellites up there so you can watch the live stream and everything else. Like, if Albo turned around and said, all right, I want 20 of the biggest companies in Australia to put in $5 million each, there's your 100 mil.
Makes sense.
But there should just be a way as a nation of making it happening, even if it is government or government-private partnership. It's a good idea.
If your car battery's dead, call Batteries Direct and they'll come to you anytime with a new affordable battery installed.
Morning there. A smash at Bedford Park to look out for today. The Southern Expressway near the Ailofs Road off-ramp. Another collision at Croydon causing delays, north-south motorway near Torrens Road. And a smash at McDonald Park, big delays through there. The Northern Expressway just near Curtis Road. Those delays are inbound. Cameras Green Hill Road, Burnside and the Parade Kensington Park. Quitting vaping can be hard, but possible with support on your side. Download the new My Quit Buddy app or search Give Up for Good. This message is brought to you by the Australian Government, Canberra. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Wow, we're actually moving. Come on. Sure we can get more than two of us through the lights. Hello, we're doing like 50 in a 60 zone. Come on, mate. Oh, and then you're going to brake. Excellent. What is taking so long? Come on. Move, woman. It's green. Move. Come on.
Beat the heat. Keep cool with Fix Now, Pay Later options available. Book now. For great service guaranteed, call 1300 Automasters.
Here's an important air conditioning tip from Morford Air. Never give your teenagers control over the aircon remote. Your energy bills could go through the roof. Instead, for summer, set it around 21 degrees. It's the most energy efficient temperature. And if you turn it on early, before the teens are out of bed, your system will have less work to do, keeping your home cool all day. When it's too hot or cold to bear, reach for the Morford Air. morfordair.com.au.
Morford.
Without doubt, the biggest contributor by far to the swear jar at By Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens is David Cox himself. And Coxie swears that you can rely on the integrity and expertise of his dedicated team for your kitchen or bathroom renovation.
A new contributor to the swear jar is Mark the Tiler. Mark swears to greet you with a smile and to be millimetre perfect with his tiling.
Renette, a designer of 20 years with By Urban, swears to listen to your ideas and help create a functional space for you. And Rick the Plumber swears to always be on time and clean up after himself.
For a team that swears to deliver on quality and service, see By Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts.
You can rent a little, you can rent a lot.
Whatever you're doing, wherever you're going, you can rely on Red Spot to get you there. We're the all-Aussie, family-owned car rental company in airport terminals and cities across Australia with a new fleet and 100% local Aussie service. And right now, Red Spot is giving you spot-on savings of 15% off every vehicle at every location. Book direct and save at redspot.com.au/radio. T's and C's apply.
Red Spot.
I'm Stephen Polaris, and I have a plan to prevent domestic violence before it happens, because when violence is predictable, it can be prevented. What we have now isn't working, and it's time for a new approach. Vote for me, Stephen Polaris, Real Change SA, and together, let's prevent domestic violence.
Vote 1 Stephen Polaris, Real Change SA. Authorised by Stephen Polaris, Real Change SA, 70 Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, SA 5000.
What is taking so long? Come on! Move, woman! It's green! Move!
Keep your cool in traffic with ice cold aircon from Automasters. Fix now, pay later options available. Call 1300 Automasters.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
The state election is on March 21. Early voting period is from March 14 until 6 p.m. March 20. Voting, it's a good thing.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
Good news for Julia from Happy Valley, who on the text line says, "Good morning, Will and Dave. I love the new Port teal jumper." Well, how about this, Julia? Make sure you tune into Rowie and Timmy G, who will have Port Adelaide's new Gather Round Guernseys to give away tomorrow night before they go on public sale. So if you want to get one, make sure you listen in to Rowie and Timmy G tomorrow night and you can get your hands on one before they go on public sale. That's going to be excellent. Hey, we played a little game of Nearest to the Pin on Friday, anticipating a weekend of pain at the petrol pump and rising tensions in the Middle East, asking you what would the petrol price be at 8 a.m. this morning at the...
on the Run West Terrace.
On the Run West Terrace, unleaded 91. The answer was $2.13.9. $2.13.9. Well, congratulations to Dave from Mile End, who said $2.09.9. Pretty good, within 4 cents. And Dave, you've won a double pass to see Long Way to the Top at Gluttony in Rymel Park, home of the biggest shows this fringe. Tickets from gluttony.net.au.
On you, Dave. Well done.
Hey, we've got some big news coming up with this week with regard to the democracy sausage as well, thanks to the great people at Najobi. We'll tell you, we're going to review how you can get your hands on it and make sure it's on barbecues right around the state, because we're getting very, very close to Election Day here in South Australia, and we want the Najobi product to be on barbecues everywhere. What's that?
I said, thank God.
Thank God. Yeah, it's been sort of overtaken by international events, the old state election at the moment, hasn't it? All thanks to Najobi. From their award-winning farm to your table, Najobi delivers premium fresh beef and lamb ethically, locally, effortlessly. Najobi.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny 31 today with the 8:30 news. Good morning, I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Had a collision? Get in touch with Premier Panel Services and have your car returned to its former beauty.
Australia's deploying aircraft to the Gulf in a bid to help combat ongoing rocket and drone attacks from Iran. An E-7A Wedgetail will be sent to the United Arab Emirates for around a month. The aircraft to secure airspace over the region, monitoring incoming threats from Tehran. The federal government will also send medium-range air-to-air missiles to the UAE. Meantime, the effects of the war in Iran are beginning to be seen in the regions around Australia amid reports of fuel shortages. In Adelaide, petrol has climbed from $1.80 to $2.14 in the last 9 days. Federal Energy Minister Chris Bowen is urging drivers not to panic buy, saying Australia still retains 32 days' supply, the same as we did a week ago. But Jake Hill from the Karoonda fuel stop says their tanks are dry and there's no tanker in sight.
We got told you can order, but it probably won't turn up. And then the next message was, you can order, but it's probably going to be weak.
And the federal government says the entire Iranian women's football squad are welcome to stay in Australia if they choose. The team competing in the ASEAN Cup in Queensland when war broke out in Iran. 5 players granted humanitarian visas after they made a dramatic escape from a Gold Coast hotel. Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke says the opportunity is available to the remaining women as well.
These women are tremendously popular in Australia, but we realise they are in a terribly difficult situation with the decisions that they're making. But the opportunity will continue to be there for them to talk to Australian officials if they wish to.
In other news, Australian researchers have found a link between youth digital media use and risks later in life. More from 9 reporter Georgia Condek.
James Cook University researchers analysed 153 studies following children and adolescents aged between 2 and 19 years for up to 2 decades. Results found those with higher levels of media use were linked to more depressive symptoms and behavioural problems, along with a higher risk of substance use and self-harm and poorer school performance. Social media emerged as the most consistent area of concern. Meanwhile, high use of gaming showed a different pattern and was associated with greater levels of aggression and conduct problems. Researchers say the trends were strongest in early adolescence.
An Australian study could help fast-track endometriosis detection, a painful condition affecting 1 in 7 Australian women. Uni of Queensland researchers developing a questionnaire for young women to prevent ongoing confusion around symptoms. Professor Geeta Mishra says it could help patients take better control of their health.
It is important for them to know that it is not them, but, if they have a condition, it's much better for them to know that there's a reason for why they're feeling the way they are. And that can really help empower the women to seek treatment.
And the royal family met by anti-monarchy protesters at the annual Commonwealth Day service in London. Demonstrators chanting, "You're not my king," and holding signs saying, "What did you know?" in response to Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's recent arrest. In a message, King Charles said the Commonwealth can be a force for unity in a fragmented world. Turning to 5AA Sport.
Get to Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes for the Outlander ES. Drive away from just $39,990.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Maddie. Fresh after taking the MotoGP from Victoria, there's reports South Australia is set to launch a campaign to host the T20 Cricket World Cup final in 2028. Venues for the tournament are yet to be locked in, but the MCG is favoured to host the final, as it has for each Cricket World Cup held in Australia. To football now. Carlton has withdrawn Sam Docherty from a club function ahead of Thursday night's game against Richmond. Blues Chief Executive Graham Wright says the decision has been made to support the club's people internally. The ex-Carlton captain had a voice note played of him criticising the Blues on a podcast without his permission. Docherty has told Wide World of Sports he does love the club.
Lie in the bed that's been made for me in some aspects, but I do want to say one quick thing. Just with all the fans out there, and especially the Carlton fans, I do love the club, and I think that's getting lost a little bit.
Meantime, AFL great Matthew Lloyd has put a line through St Kilda's premiership and top 4 chances this season. Lloyd isn't convinced they're much of a threat on the back of Sunday night's loss to Collingwood.
I think they could aim to win a final would be their best. They're not a premiership chance. I don't think they're a top 4 chance, but if they can win a final, it'd be a good job for them.
And 21-year-old Talia Gibson is inside the top 100 in the world for the first time after moving into the round of 16 at Indian Wells with a hard-fought 3-set win against Clara Towson. And that's the 5AA Sport.
5AA's traffic.
Cluedo the Play at Her Majesty's Theatre from 21 March. 2 weeks only. Don't miss out. Book now.
Morning there at Bedford Park, a crash the Southern Expressway near the Olives Road off-ramp. McDonald Park, a crash there. Northern Expressway near Curtis Road. Still got really big delays. And a burst water main to look out from Marston South Road near Everard Avenue. Pretty busy at the moment. The freeway inbound through Crafers and Stirling around that area. And a Camera Gorge Road, Athelston. Donut King's new donut made with Kit Kat is the ultimate traffic treat. Long drive, take a donut break and grab yours before they're gone at Donut King today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Stuck in traffic? Road trip differently in the Northern Territory. northernterritory.com/drive.
Sunny and 31 for Adelaide today. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 26. Cloudy on Thursday and Friday, 23. Right now, it's 17. 5AA. Always Adelaide.
This week at IGA, there's Dove Body Wash, 1 litre, selected varieties, half price, $9.50 each. Can't believable prices now at your local IGA. Offer ends March 10. Participating stores only. Excludes IGA, local grocer and Foodland.
Not every conversation stays with you. This one will. Join Stephen Bartlett as he asks the questions and nothing is left unsaid. Search The Diary of a CEO wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, it's Eddie May here from NRG Solar. If you've had solar on your roof for 10 years, you would understand the big feed-in tariffs have pretty much disappeared. That's why NRG Solar will tell you the best way forward is to combine your existing or new solar system with battery storage. Storing the excess energy your solar makes during the day to use it at night is a game changer. NRG Solar helps you upgrade smarter with solutions designed to target zero power bills. Visit nrgsolar.com.au.
Car battery nearly dead or left you stranded? Call Batteries Direct and they'll come to you now. Call 1300 55 8174. For affordable, on-the-spot battery replacement, call Batteries Direct. 1300 55 8174.
Hi there, Brett Ibbott here for Mawson Lakes Mazda. They're kicking off the year with a big one. All 2025 plate Mazdas are priced to clear. Plus, a massive range of low-kilometre demos that must be cleared as well. Take a look at their extensive range of models and colours. No gimmicks, no fuss. Just the best price and the best customer support for you and your shiny new Mazda. The 2025 plate clearance. On now at Mawson Lakes Mazda. Salisbury Highway, a short drive from the city.
3 days to deadline. Now's the time to buy your tickets in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. Lock in by midnight Friday to unlock the Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon bonus prize. Drive home the win. Even better, you'll stay in the draw for the $4 million Scott Salisbury Grand Prize in Henley Beach South, just steps from the beach. Don't miss out. The bonus deadline is midnight Friday. homelottery.com.au. Licence M14894.
Is it the best Beechwood home ever made? Possibly, but there's always more to come from Beechwood. Introducing the Caliente, now open for viewing. The Caliente is a multi-level masterpiece of design, innovation and style. Taking inspiration from Palm Springs in California, it's definitely a conversation starter. The team at Beechwood can't wait for you to see it at 10 Simon Crescent, Craigburn Farm. Open Saturdays and Sundays, 1 to 4:30pm. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
Now, Daniel Talia, Crow's legend, is the general manager of a company called Home. It's spelt H-A-U-M-E. And put simply, Daniel and his team, they buy homes and they do it without all the hassle of going through an agent.
That's right. No open inspections, no strangers coming through your house, no waiting for months hoping for the right buyer, and they don't charge fees. There's no advertising costs or commissions, none of that.
So what they do is they just make the process of selling your home easy. If your home was built before the 90s and you're thinking of downsizing, the team at Home can help you sell quickly without the stress, the complicated paperwork, or the usual back and forth.
Skip the uncertainty and sell your home the easy way. Thinking of downsizing? Well, visit home.com.au. That's HAUME.com.au.
Whether you're running a big project or juggling multiple sites, meetings and deadlines, that's a Kennard's Hire job. From roads, transport and renewables to schools and hospitals, if you're in charge of major infrastructure projects, Kennard's Hire has the capability, solutions and expertise to make the job easy. So when you need the right solution with 24/7 support, that's a Kennard's Hire job.
Hi, Kennard's Hire.
Talk to our experts today.
Kennard's make your job easy. At Hamilton, MG, Brighton and Ranella, MG's small SUV just got better. Elevate your drive with the all-new MG ZS CVT Vibe, backed by a 5-star ANCAP safety rating. Pre-order now from $22,990 drive away. Plus, if you or a family member has ever owned an MG, you'll receive an additional $1,000 off. Don't miss out. Ends March 31st. Hamilton, MG, Brighton and Ranella. T's and C's apply. LBD 3600.
The state election is on March 21. Early voting period is from March 14 until 6 p.m. March 20. Voting, it's a good thing.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
989, getting a stack of texts already about this next story, and I think we're going to get more over the course of the next half an hour. Bronwyn Patterson's partner, Stephen King, died in last year after a battle with terminal cancer, and has spoken publicly about the way in which he was treated by our health system at the end of her partner's life. Well, the SA Health Minister, his office at very least, released an email purportedly to be from Stephen King talking about how good the health system was working, how high the quality of care he'd received had been. Just one problem among many. It was a different Stephen King. And now the state government are facing questions about, A, why you would want to discredit a grieving widow, B, why it could be that you write to the state government about anything and it becomes election material, and C, why anyone's tasked with this job. as you've made the point, David, over the course of the morning, in an environment where you have $50 billion worth of debt, yet someone's being paid by the taxpayer to dig up this wrongly. Bronwyn Patterson is on the line. Bronwyn, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Bronwyn, thank you for joining us. Clearly, and I say this with huge empathy, that the loss of your husband would be bad enough, but having all this piled on top of it must just be quite a horrible thing to have to go through.
Yeah, it's awful. It's more. I didn't have a great deal of expectation prior after what happened to Steve, but I don't think I have any expectations anymore. So it's bewildering that an email would have been dug up.
So when the email was released or referred to by the government and you heard about it, what was your first reaction?
I was a little bit shocked that is life, which was, obviously last year. And, it just seemed completely irrelevant to what I was talking about.
But for you to twig, or for someone to twig, well, hang on, there's not even the right Stephen King. I mean, that part of it must just have been bewildering.
Yeah, that literally floored me. And I was, more than happy to speak. Perhaps he had written a glowing endorsement, and we both would have done about the people that we spoke to. But when to find out that it wasn't even the right person. So if it wasn't the right person, did anyone actually look into this case before they responded? That really felt deflating.
Yeah. So since all this happened, we've had an apology from the Health Minister. The Premier has come out and said, well, he as Premier didn't know about it. Have you had any direct conversations with anyone from the government about it?
I did. And this is what I want to be clear about as well, is that Mr. Picton, he did call me quite late Saturday evening or Saturday afternoon. It was about, just past 6 o'clock. But in that conversation, there was no mention of an email. There was certainly no apology that was given to me. And it was more, initially he wanted to know about Steve's case. And once again, I think I felt let down again, because if you've already made a response, wouldn't you have known about Steve's case? And that was the conversation. And then he said that he would meet with me and some of the oncologists on Thursday. And I thanked him because obviously I am grateful for that. And then, and that was the end of the conversation. And then it was probably about 6:30. There was another phone call from Mr. Picton, and I was busy doing something. And then there wasn't a voice message, but there was a text message. And it started off, hi, Bronwyn, just one more thing, sorry. And then it went on about his department had found an email and they thought it was Stephen King. And just letting you know that we've apologised for sending this email out. And some of the things as well that I've heard, and I've tried to avoid the news, to be perfectly honest, is that it was actually Mr. Picton who found that email or located it. So it wasn't your team. And I think just own it and just tell me that you found that email and you sent it, and that was part of your response to what I had spoken about. And this issue was always about, or partly, it was about the ramping, but that it's still occurring. And the flow-on effects from ramping, which no one can possibly know until they've gone through it. And the hardest thing, that there were so many delays, and even trying to know what to do with Steve, for want of a better word, because he was just so sick. And in the end, there wasn't a space in the hospice for him. And because he'd just less than a week ago, he'd had a dose of chemotherapy. So then they went down the angle of, we can admit him through oncology. And what had happened that morning, and what I wanted people to know was, when you have all these delays and then a delay in the ambulance, a delay and even getting to the hospital because by this time he was in absolute agony. Then going to ramping is that I told my little boy, our 11-year-old son, I sent him to school and I said, I'll come and pick you up and Dad will be nice and comfortable when you see him. But because of delay after delay, my son never got to say goodbye to his dad. That was one of the issues that I wanted to raise. It's more than just a stat of someone being stuck in an ambulance or waiting for an ambulance. People don't get to say goodbye.
2 hours waiting for the ambulance, 1 hour ramped at the Royal Adelaide Hospital. Bronwyn, stay listening because the Health Minister, Chris Picton, has called in. Health Minister, you've just heard Bronwyn and you've heard what she'd like to hear you say. What have you got to say to her? She's still listening.
Well, I make a unreserved, complete apology. I take full responsibility for the release of that email. I am incredibly concerned that I've caused any additional stress or concern to her. As soon as I got Bronwyn's contact details on Saturday, I phoned her immediately. We did have an important discussion about Stephen's care, and we've arranged to have a further discussion about that so that we can learn as a system and try to improve things for the future. I realised after we had a long conversation that we hadn't talked about the email, and I tried to call back immediately and then followed up with an apology. I want to make it very clear that I'm completely apologising. I completely take full responsibility, and there's no excuses. And I'm human, make mistakes, and I think it's important that people own up to them when they make mistakes, and that's what I do. And I'm very sorry to Bronwyn.
The apology is one thing, Minister, but this story feels really horrible because it looks like you guys have been busted having a PR reaction to a story about service delivery. And it looks like you've got people sitting there rifling through the inbox, looking for emails that will get you off the hook, and that a wholly partisan political decision was made where, presented with a crisis of care, the government treated it like a crisis of public relations.
Look, I'm not taking away anything from my apology and regret that this has happened. I would say that what happens, when anybody raises an issue and journalists ask us questions about an issue that's raised in the health system is we'll obviously check to see if it's an issue that we've had a complaint about that we've been looking into already. That's what happened in this occasion. And the team, checked our records, couldn't find that we'd had a complaint about this, but found that email and we sent that to the journalists and also explained that we didn't have any other complaints. That shouldn't have happened. It wasn't contemporaneous.
But isn't that almost like a privacy issue for the other Stephen King? I mean, people don't write emails to the government thinking, here's some positive feedback, and you guys think, well, you beauty, let's hang on to that for later because it might help us get out of the poop if something goes bad.
Well, and that's why I'm apologising because we shouldn't have done that. And I've sent an email to the other Stephen King, which is the only contact details we have, apologising to them as well. And, I'm making no excuses for it. I'm owning it. I'm apologising to anybody who's concerned about it.
So just to get to the source of this, the origin of this, it came from your office, this letter, and it was at your direction that someone found it, or did someone find it for their own volition? How did it come to pass?
So whenever a journalist will reach out to us saying they've spoken to a particular patient and they've asked us particular questions about that patient's treatment, we'll look to see if we have any information about that. And obviously we help thousands and thousands of people every year who have concerns about their treatment, including people that call to your show that we can help. And we didn't have any record or complaint about this issue, so there was no investigation that we were looking into about this. But there was an email, there was a belief because of the same name, a similar hospital, and a sort of relatively similar time frame that it was the same person. That was clearly incorrect. But even if it was the same person, I'm also saying that we shouldn't have released it to that journalist either.
Have you thought about your position as Minister, Chris Picton? Because I can think of several cases. I can think of Barry O'Farrell getting a bottle of wine by accident. I can think of Ian McLaughlin getting the secret women's business documents. I can think of Amanda Vanstone as Social Security Minister talking about the Wright family who didn't exist. These resulted in ministerial resignations. Have you given any thought to that?
Look, my focus has been on, making sure that I am taking accountability for this, and I'm focused on helping Bronwyn in terms of looking at the issues in terms of the treatment here, and I intend to continue on working hard for South Australians as Minister.
Chris Picton, thank you for that. Ashton Hearn, the Leader of the Opposition, has called in as well. We're going to have to make that pretty brief, though, up against it, Leader.
No, we'll do it after the break. Let's check traffic. Car battery dead. Call Batteries Direct and they'll come to you anytime with a new affordable battery installed.
Morning there at Bedford Park. A crash the Southern Expressway near the Alice Road off-ramp. McDonald Park, another collision there. Big delays too. Northern Expressway near the Curtis Road area. And Bridgewater smash on the freeway causing headaches and delays. Just near the Bridgewater ramp, those delays are inbound too. Cameras, Hallett Road, Burnside and McGill Road, McGill. Looking to eat healthier? Rainbow Fresh salads are grown as nature intended. Seed, sun and soil. Available in Foodland, Drake's, IGA and greengrocers. Local. It's better for you. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Sharing in the moments that shaped our state.
There's that icy stare from Dean Lucan. Very little animation. He's a no-nonsense lifter.
Now can he jerk it?
Yes, he can. Tremendous effort. Let's wait and see. He's got it's a gold medal to Dean Lucan of Australia.
What a tremendous effort.
Always Adelaide for 50 years. This is 5AA.
When you're gone, who gets the things that tell your story? Like the classic car you've kept immaculate, the beach shack filled with family memories, or the record collection from your youth. If you don't plan now, it could get messy. Donlan Lawyers specialise in wills and estate planning. From the simplest to the most complex, Donlan Lawyers will give effect to your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com. Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, the Lynn Andrews team have made it easy for landlords to manage residential and commercial property. From single homes to multiple commercial holdings, our passion for property investment means we have a great deal of knowledge. How to do it safely and properly, matching the right tenant with the right property every time. We're here to help you. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
You can rent a little, you can rent a lot.
From Cairns to Canberra, Perth to Port Macquarie, you can rely on Red Spot to provide the perfect ride for your next holiday. We're the only Aussie family-owned and operated car rental company in airport terminals and cities all over Australia with a new fleet and 100% local Aussie service. And right now, Red Spot is giving you spot-on savings of 15% off every vehicle at every location. Book direct and save at redspot.com.au/radio. T's and C's apply.
Star Discount Chemist's Big Brand Vitamin Sale is here. Big brand names at low prices, including Bioglan, Blackmores, Nature's Way and more. Go in store or online to shop. Always read the label and follow directions for use. Star Discount Chemist. How can we help?
Most financial advice comes with strings attached. AFM Wealth Strategy doesn't. They're independent. They're part of just 1% of advisors in Australia. No commissions, no bank ties, no incentives pushing products. This is critical, unbiased advice.
Their fees aren't based on how much money you have, but on the time and expertise needed to help you reach your goals. That means their advice is clear, fair, and always in your best interest.
And when it comes to Centrelink and aged care, areas many people find confusing, Tony from AFM Wealth Strategy brings real experience. With over 15 years working in Centrelink, he understands the process and makes it simple to understand.
And remember, for a worry-free retirement, you need to plan now. Get in touch with Tony and the team at AFM Wealth Strategy. Visit afmservices.com.au. An authorised representative of Independent Financial Advisor Australia, AFSL 464629.
I'm Jing Lee, and for 16 years I've been your Upper House Member of Parliament in the Legislative Council. My vision for South Australia is about building a better community, safer society and a stronger economy. South Australians deserve a hard-working, independent voice who will always put community first. No matter where you live, in the cities, suburbs or regions, vote 1. Jing Lee, Better Community. Spoken and authorised by J.S. Lee for Jingli Better Community, Panem.
The state election is on March 21. Early voting period is from March 14 until 6 p.m. March 20. Voting, it's a good thing.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
It's better to be a member with RAA Road Service. All eyes are on the petrol Bowser this morning. Basically, the average price is $2.13.9. Interested to see if it does come down at all. The cheapest, $1.99.5, the mobile at Torrensville. A lot of diesel at $2.29.9. The cheapest is $2.09.9, the BP X-Convenience at Brooklyn Park. Ashton Hearn, the leader of the Liberal Party here in South Australia, has called in following our discussion with the Health Minister. Ashton, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys.
What's your take on it, Ashton Hearn?
Oh, it's a shocking situation for Bron. She's been incredibly strong, but I think this goes to the core of what is fundamentally wrong with this government, and that is that they are so driven by PR and politics over people. The fact that Labor and their machine, their first instinct wasn't to show compassion or empathy. It was to ferret away looking through emails, looking for anything to squash a political story instead of taking responsibility. And I think the key question here is, has it happened before? Has any personal information been dished out to journos before? And if that's the case, then I think that the minister's position is frankly untenable. We can't have someone who is unable to show empathy and whose first instinct is to look for the political angle as opposed to taking responsibility for the serious stuff up that has happened in SA Health.
Ashton Hearn, thank you.
It's going to be a big story. It's going to continue into the
How's
into the
timing?
day. Yeah, we're going to have a chat with Bronwyn Patterson again, I suspect, to see how this ultimately gets resolved. But it's a big one. Catch you tomorrow.